to Charlotte Motor Speedway here on this Memorial Day holiday in the United States. I'm joined in the booth tonight with Chris Spear, and joining us for the first time this season,
Absolutely. This is a breath of fresh air for a lot of these guys, and really just a breather, because next week we go back to the road course. Guys, not necessarily the biggest fans of road courses, but we follow the NASCAR schedule here, and if NASCAR goes to them, we're going to go to them. They certainly can, and a lot of guys are going to be looking to do that here tonight with a 200-lap race, Jared. A lot of things can happen here.
And this is a big race. Let's bring up the championship standings. Bobby Terrell in the point lead, 3 points above Case McMullen, who had a great run last week at Circuit of the Americas. Dale Nearad, Richie Coy, Troy Torgerson, as you see on your screen. Actually, hold on one second. There we go. As you see on your screen there, as I get that pulled up correctly. Dale Nearad in third. Any driver that's in gray or dark gray, that means they've won a race this season. So you take a look there. A lot of drivers already inside that top 15, top 16 with wins. But then you start sliding outside that group, and you got guys like Tim Bills who aren't here, Jeff Chandler who isn't here, as well as Brandon Elder who is not here tonight, although Brandon Elder dropping further and further behind that cut line. But Chris, the other part of that is qualifying into the race. Now tonight we only have 38 drivers in the field, but you have to be in that top 25 to guarantee your spot.
You certainly do, and a couple of drivers here tonight are going to be lucky that they're going to go ahead and not have to worry so much about qualifying. It's not going to matter as much because they're already locked into the show, and this will give them a great opportunity to make up points on that cut line. Looking at your points in that cut line area, you got Tim Bills in 22nd, 23rd is Tracy, 24th Terry Cooper Jr., 25th is Kenneth Schultz, 26th Jeff Chandler, and 27th Stephen Ruman. These guys all want to do whatever they can to get those critical points so that they don't have to race their way into each of these events.
Exactly right. And let's take a look at that race information, what we're going to be dealing with tonight. So this is, as Chris already talked about, this is a 200 lap race, 300 miles around this track. But the other thing too is this track, we are starting, I think in-game time is 7:30. Yes, right around 7:30 p.m. each in the game, or 7 o'clock, apologies. So this is going to be a transition race, and we take a look at the race information. 91-degree track temp. That's huge right now because that track is going to change a lot. Partly cloudy and 66 degrees of humidity. Not degrees, 66%. But Ed, when you have a race out there, when this track is going through transitions, staying on top of it's going to be a big part of the game tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Going to have to make a bunch of adjustments. Some guys' cars are going to be set good for the earlier part of the night, and then later on when it gets hot, track gets slick, and guys are going to have to adjust to keep going.
Exactly right, because I can guarantee you when we finish this race tonight, that track temp is not going to be 91 degrees. It's pretty hot, and we're going to have to keep an eye on these drivers and see how they set these things up. Right now, let's bring up the board and show you where everybody's at. Troy Torgerson just put down the best lap quicker than Greg Holt, who's making his third race. Randy McCanny, who switches teams. So Randy McCanny moving from Take-Two Motorsports to his own team in a brand new number, the 27. He's fourth quickest right now behind Brian Bliss. We have a couple other drivers on track as well. Chris, Bobby Terrell, Ralph Nolan back on the track as well with a top 10 qualifying.
Absolutely. These guys are doing a great job here as qualifying. Looking at the times, man, it is really tight up in this top 10, only separated by 2/10, not even a full 2/10 for first through 10th, and we still have guys out here qualifying.
Yeah, Tracy Powers on your screen now, driving that number 45. And, a lot of we saw a couple drivers out here, and I don't have any that are currently on the track, but there is some special Memorial Day themes out there, sacrifices made, that allow us to go sim racing, virtual racing here tonight. With all the troops and those that support the military out there. But right now on the screen, we got Rachel Hunt. I'm shocked, Chris. She has not found her groove yet this season, despite having some great runs last year. And she's going to put a time up right now. It looks like 23rd quickest, as she's going to try her second lap now.
Yes, she is. And looking from practice, she was actually laid down the 11th fastest lap, which was at this point in the season the best she's ran as far as practice times. So it'll be interesting to see if she's able to get up there and contend tonight. Looking for a little bit of luck as she's and she actually smacks the wall coming up to finish her second lap, and that's not something you want to do here.
No, I think that lap was going to be up on it. But Ed, as you saw there, she was getting on there. And how much do you press in qualifying when you have 2 laps there? Looked like Rachel Hunt might have pressed a little bit too far.
Yeah, I think coming out in that second lap, with how close these times are, I think that second lap, you really got to press hard. Track position is going to be key tonight, and starting up front is definitely going to be a big factor.
We're getting toward the end of qualifying, about 15 seconds or so left, and we'll go to our short warm-up where we're going to interview the driver that's been dominant, and I mean dominant here at Charlotte. 6 times has the FTS Full Throttle Sim Racing Cup Series raced at the Oval at Charlotte, and Dean Doucet has won 3 of those events. So we're going to hear from him before the race and see what he's thinking before tonight's event at Charlotte as we get the qualifying all finished up here. And that's going to be put toward Torgerson, who's been on quite a run, Chris, as you know, over the last couple weeks.
He certainly has, but man, it's interesting to see here these guys running here. I mean, Dean Doucet had a blistering lap in practice, not so much in qualifying.
User was moved to your channel.
Certainly did. Real close one. This track's going to be a little bit tricky here tonight. The track's going to change a lot over the course of these 200 laps. A lot of different things that they're going to have to do. Some guys are going to be set up better for this day stint that we'll have. But when it gets nighttime, the lap times are going to start to get a little bit quicker and a little bit harder to handle those cars the longer into the runs we get.
Yes, sir. Got a copy. Sorry about that on a little break there. Man, I thought I was going to be the man tonight, but we had a little boo-boo there in qualifying, and we got a ton of work to do tonight. It's difficult. I mean, it's difficult to keep up with the changes during this race as the track evolves into night and the grip levels change and temperature changes. But beyond that, it's been hard to just adjust this week to all the changes that have been done to the car and the track. I mean, I'm running a high line in 3 and 4 this week. I've never done that in my life. I really like it, but I've never done it.
Yeah, Dean, this is a pretty long race, the longest one of this season. How's that going to play into your strategy here tonight with starting a little bit farther back than you would like?
Well, I mean, that's the one good thing about starting back here. I can shift her down. I know it's going to be a lot about tire wear. It's going to give me a chance to conserve some tire back there and ride around. And frankly, you just seen you couldn't get a hold of me. That's because I took a quick break because I know it's 200 laps. You got to really prepare for these long races. And, you know, I'm expecting not many cautions, but a couple, and hopefully they'll be timely for me. All right, thanks. Hey, man, just big shout out to Blackwater, our team sponsor, as well as Darkmatter Designs sponsor in this. And I think it's going to be a heck of a race. Really glad to have you guys calling it, man. Can't wait to get this thing going.
More laps than anybody else combined. He is the guy we're going to have to keep an eye on.
We certainly will. It'll be interesting to see how he's able to overcome that poor qualifying performance. And looking back at it, Jared, he actually caught the wall on one of those laps, and that's kind of the reason why he had such a slow qualifying effort here tonight.
Jared, we can't hear you on the broadcast, buddy. Okay, I'll put you back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free, home of the brave?
All right, we are back here live at Charlotte Motor Speedways. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I guess I hit the mute button on my mic, but we are back here, and we have these guys all lined up, ready to go. So let's get into our starting lineup here tonight. And Troy Torgerson on the pole position. He is going to start alongside Greg Holt. Row number 2 is Bobby Terrell and Brian Bliss. Row number 3 is Randy McCanny and Case McMullen. Row number 4 is Jeff Winter and Richie Coy. And rounding out the top 10 is Brody Hanna.
Row 6 is going to be Ralph Nolan Jr. and Jeff Bratton. Row 7, Brad Patterson and Joe Flanagan. Behind them, Kurt Davidson, Chad Lang, Andrew Palicki, Bill Benedict, and Bernard Person and Wayne Grossi rounding out your row number 10.
And looking further back through the field here, we got Sher Williford and Lane Allen in row 11. Row 12 is Rachel Hunt and Josh Mayu. Row 13, James Torrey, Steve Vrooman. 14 is Schultz and Gach. 15 is Bartel and Solari. 16, Dean Doucet talked about it. He is way back there tonight with Jason Spear in row 16. Held and Powers, row 17. Ballard and Watts, row 18, as these guys are about ready to go with Griffith and Loomis at the tail end of the field. And Troy Torgerson will lead them down here to start the race. The Coca-Cola 300, and we are under green, down away, and Torgerson is going to lead them.
He certainly is, but the great start by both him and Greg Holt as they are still side by side heading into one.
Side by side, and they are doing a great job back through there. It's Torgerson, Holt. Now Bobby Terrell's going to look on the inside, very spread out after about the top 25. Everybody very spread out back there at the back of the pack, but Troy Torgerson is going to try to battle. Holt battling on the outsides. They come to the front straightaway. And this lap is going to go to Greg Holt. And Ed, that's huge for these guys. Get that lap led early in the race.
Yeah, definitely capitalize on that bonus point for leading a lap.
Chris, it looks like the outside line looking very good as Greg Holt powers by Torgerson down the back straightaway.
He certainly does, and we heard a little bit from Dean Doucet earlier that he was running the outside lane here. That's something a little bit new to iRacing, as these guys have made dynamic grooves a thing here on this service.
A little bit of a gaggle back a little bit further. Richie Coy in there, Brody Hanna in there, as they're still trying to sort out the 2x2. Ralph Nolan as well, who's already made up 3 spots in 1 lap. So the 95 car going to the front. Right behind him is Dale Nearad. Brian Bliss, the guy in trouble. He's dropped 6 spots on the start here already. Ed, is that a symptom of maybe set up for a little bit later in the race?
Yeah, it definitely could be a symptom of a setup for later in the race. Right now, this hot track could be a little loose or maybe tight. It all depends on how they have the car set up. Could come in later on as the run goes on.
And Holt has opened up that lead. Now we got Jeff Chandler out there. Jeff won last week, and he is shouting and rooting on Greg Holt and Jeff Winter here tonight. So Greg Holt leading, and Troy Torgerson's coming back, though. Chris, coming out of turn 4.
He certainly is, as he's making his way up there. He doesn't want to be in second. At this point, he wants to get right back up there and lead this race, because he wants to lead not just 1 lap. He wants to lead as many as possible to get that second bonus point.
Torgerson did not. By my our data here, it doesn't look like he actually did lead a lap as he gets loose off turn 2. We already got single file among the back, about the top 15. And we look back a little bit further. Our first battle on the track is actually Wayne Grossi and Joe Flanagan. That's short-lived. And then we look a little bit further back at Dean Doucet, Ed, and we talked to him at the beginning of the race. He said he kind of screwed up the qualifying. Chris talked to us, and Chris found it and said he hit the wall. What is this 29 car going to have to do to extend his streak of winning here at Charlotte?
I think he's going to have to ride around the high lane, preserve his tires. He doesn't want to be too aggressive at the start of this run. Let these guys up front and battling hard. Just preserve the tires. Tire wear is important here at Charlotte. They'll probably get over 1 second to 2 seconds of fall off as the run goes on.
Canadian up 4 spots, but right now up front it's still Holt. And Chris, I'm a little bit surprised at how quickly this race got single file among the top 20 or so drivers.
Are you kidding me, Jared? This thing's 200 laps. Of course they want to get single file. No one wants to be racing that hard for 200 laps. Plus, you don't want to abuse your stuff this early on in the run.
That's a very, very good point. And back, the first battle on the track is between Gil Gock, James Torrey, and Lane Allen, but that's already settled out. And right behind him, Dean Doucet already up 5 spots. So Dean Doucet really making quick work of it. Our quick gainer, though, right now on the track is the number 3 of Mike Watts, Ed. He has moved up 7 spots since the start of the race. Started back in 35th, up to 28th.
Yeah, he's making some headway. Right now we see him, it looks like he might have just gotten around, I think it was at the 51.
Yeah.
He's running that low line, but it might be a little bit more aggressive on his tires here, though. We might see him fall off as the run goes on.
And Chris, that's something we're going to have to take a look at as all those drivers. Now, there are teammates to Bobby Terrell. Now, Bobby Terrell is one of the best qualifiers in any series, and he's all the way up in 4th place, just riding right now. Jeff Winter up on the move, though. He has moved up 4 spots into 3rd spot. So he is, as far as the lead pack goes, he's moved up quite a bit. We also got Kurt Davidson up 6 spots in that lead pack. Now, he is only running a part-time schedule in that rebranded number 21 machine, the 41. And he has ran at Kansas, finished in 4th place. So we know he likes the 1.5 milers, Chris. Look for that 41 car to come to the front.
Absolutely. A lot of great battles going on deeper in the track. The number 6 machine just got passed for position, but they were side by side for about 2 or 3 laps.
Did you say the number 6?
That's not number 6. That's the number 2.
Number 2, all righty. I was like, number 6, who is that? James Torrey there, and they're battling back here. That is Bill Benedict. Bill Benedict running one of those special patriotic Memorial Day rides. Really like that machine. A Lego, and I'm a Lego guy, so I mean I like it anyway. But that is a solid ride, a little bit different than what he runs, that normal Bobby Labonte throwback. But I like this one just as much, and he is down 8 spots. So the handling on that car not to his liking right now for Bill Benedict, Ed.
Yeah, he's looking a little loose as he's coming out of 4 here. Well, maybe not too bad. He's trying to get underneath the 2 of James Torrey.
He's battling with Steven Vrooman as well as we jump on board for a second here. And you can hear just, Chris, how much they're letting off. You know, a lot of 1.5 milers, you know, you're full throttle for 10, 15 laps. At Charlotte, you can do that, but you don't want to do that because it will really burn the tires off. And you can hear Bill Benedict and some of these other drivers really letting off here.
They certainly are. It's all about conservation at this point. These guys know that the harder they run on those tires, the quicker the fall off will come.
Wow, Chris, sorry to interrupt you. There is a battle for second place. Torgerson pinched up in the wall just a little bit off the tri-oval by the number 30 of Jeff Winter. Jeff Winter's going to clear him, but I don't think Jeff Winter knew that he was still that Torgerson was still there, and that could have been big. But Winter is going to prevail and get that spot, and we'll have to see if the 98 got any damage on that.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it when he makes his way to pit road here. These guys can run about, I think it's close to 60 laps here, Jared. So he's still got a long ways before he's able to make it in to get that car repaired if there is damage.
And now Bobby Terrell, our point leader, moving up on Torgerson. We jump on board. Torgerson's got a good run off turn 2, Ed, and that was something you were talking about earlier. That outside line really is kind of already starting to play a little bit, even in these hot conditions.
Yeah, well, coming out of the turn, you have so much momentum going down these the back stretch and even the front straight in this dog leg. It just, you see how he prevailed and pulled away from him on the outside.
And the top 2, Chris, have walked away. These are 2 teammates. RPM Motorsports, Greg Holt, who just joined up. He is in the number 32. I do believe I have the wrong paint loaded, or he has the wrong paint loaded. But it was a red 32 last week, I can assure you. Jeff Winter is in second position. And those guys have opened up a second gap over this next group, which is Torgerson, Terrell, McCanny, Coy, Nolan, and Neerad. And Chris, I'm a little bit surprised. Is that maybe some conservation going on with these other drivers, or is the RPM guys just that quick tonight?
It's probably a little combination of both. At this point, these guys are just out here trying to get their way around here. But also, if you've got the car already with the track being as hot and slick as it is right now, go ahead and try to pull away. Maybe your car will fall off at the end and you're trying to get as much distance between you and the other guys before that starts to happen.
And a power move by the 5 machine, Bobby Terrell, to the outside in 3 and 4, and he's going to take the third position from Troy Torgerson, going the hard way around the track. The outside in 3 and 4, not as much grip up there as 1 and 2, and Bobby Terrell got a little bit loose, but it looks like he's going to prevail coming off the corner. So move Bobby Terrell up to his regular starting position. Torgerson down 3 spots. Bobby Terrell up 0. McCanny now hounding on the back of that number 98, Ed.
Yeah, you know, one thing I just want to bring up is that the 2 leaders are running about 2/10 faster than the next cars in the top 10. I'm sorry, I was looking at that right when you threw it over to me.
No, that's perfect. That is perfect. Let's bring up that time delta. Let's compare Holt and Terrell, and you can see that gap on our time delta graph here. It is gone from 0.7 to 1.2 seconds, so you can definitely show, Ed, that those guys are starting to pull away even right now, and the 2 teammates. And Greg Holt hits the wall off 4.
Yeah, he keeps going. It doesn't look like he's got too slow.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he got too much damage, but you don't want to hit the wall too many times with these aero-dependent cars. But looks like Bobby Terrell, after he got separated from Torgerson and McCanny, Bobby Terrell's starting to pull away there too. That 5 car might be coming to the front of the field.
Yeah, you also see the line he's running. He's running about mid, and then he's turning down low versus Torgerson, who's running that low line all the way around 3 and 4.
And is that something that kind of helps the tire wear, or is that something that maybe the setup wants, or what's the specifics of doing that?
I think the tire wear on the higher line will definitely be a little bit easier on the tires versus running that low line, but also could be how the cars are set up. we don't know how these two guys, as you see right now, the 5 is up in the mid lane while Torgeson's down on the bottom. Just have to see how it plays out as we go.
That's a really good observation that these guys run different lines. Terrell has opened up that gap, but really Torgeson all the way back to Nearad, it's about the same. Let's check in on our former point leader and defending winner of this race, Casey McMullen. He has lost 3 spots since the start, but he has settled into a groove in 9th place, just ahead of Chad Lang and Kurt Davidson as those guys continue to move forward in this field. But it's been a really interesting season, Chris, so far. Casey McMullen's led a lot of the races, led the points for a lot of races, but yet still hasn't found victory lane yet.
I think we may have some technical error with Chris right now.
But Casey McMullen moving up into 9th place. Ed, you look back further through this field. I mean, we got Dean Doucet. Got to keep taking on to him because he is the guy that's ran the best here at Charlotte. He is up 13 positions as he is looking on the outside of his teammate Brian Bliss there, and Dean Doucet going to move up into 17th spot. So he is coming to the front, Ed.
Yeah, he's definitely moving. That outside line is definitely working out for him. He's fast up top. As you see, he still stays high after he makes the pass on his teammate.
So Dean Doucet moving forward. Those are actually all 3 teammates there. Bliss, Lane Allen also in that mix as well. Lane Allen up 3 spots. And we got some drivers going forward. We talked about it, but Bernard Persson up 7 spots. He's the defending champion. Chad Lang up 6 spots into 10th place. So he's having a good run there in the number 4 machine. And we look at some drivers going backwards. Brian Bliss, qualified 4th, dropping 14 spots, make that 15 spots as Lane Allen goes around him on the outside. Brian Bliss in that 18, not handling it quite the way he wants to, it looks like right now, Ed.
Yeah, he's definitely going the wrong way, but you know, like we said earlier, he could have his car set up for the nighttime. It seems like most of this race might be run in the dark, depending 7 o'clock for race time. We'll have to see right when about the sunset is. I'm not sure when that is.
I think the sunset, that's a good question. I do believe the sunset is 8, I want to look up here, 8:30? 8:30 is what we're estimating here, that we'll start to get this track a little bit darker. We'll still have a little bit of the sun out, but you're looking at about 31 to 30 to 35 laps until pit stops come up. If your car is set up for the nighttime conditions, do you kind of make a rash decision or make a decision in the pit road to kind of adjust that so you don't lose too much time in the daylight, or do you stick with what you have for the nighttime and be bad in the daytime?
At this point, I think it would be better off to stick with what you have for the daytime and just wait for the nighttime to come in. It's a long race, 300 miles, 200 laps. There's a lot of time. More time's going to be spent in the dark than in the sun.
We look at Dean Doucet picking his way through the field. He has moved up to 15th spot. Just ahead of him, teammate Brad Patterson battling with Brody Hanna. Those guys, the gap is quite big there, 2 seconds behind the next driver. So that's Brody Hanna in 13th. Bernard Persson is about 3 seconds ahead, right? Patterson gets loose, and they're going to go 3 wide. No, they're going to back out of that, but that was close. Dean Doucet there as well, and he is just continuing to pick his way through this field right now, up 17 spots. We don't want to just focus on Dean Doucet. We also have Mike Watts up 8 spots to 27th, and we also have obviously Bernard Persson up 7 spots, and Chad Lang up 6 spots as well. Back up front, well, it changed a little bit. Jeff Winter has fallen off, and now Bobby Terrell has moved to 2nd place, and he's chasing down our race leader, Greg Holt.
As you see, the 30 and the 5, they're still running that higher line. Torgeson, he's still sticking to that low line. He does not want to move up off of it. I'm surprised this late in the run, halfway through, we haven't seen more guys go even higher than the middle lane.
And you see them right through there. I mean, you're watching, and they all are kind of running that low line through 1 and 2. You see McCanny in there as well in the mix. But
30 got big time loose coming out of 2 right there. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're good. That was perfect. He did get super loose there, but Ed, it looks like 3 and 4 is where everybody's run a little bit differently. Oh, and Winter's still loose.
Yeah.
So Torgerson and McCanny going to sneak back by him. Richie Coy also in this mix. He's chasing these guys down as well. So Torgerson going to move back past guys. These RPM guys, they sprung out to a lead. And you kind of said, Ed, you wondered if they had that long run speed. But right now it seems like they're getting reeled back in a little bit here as we're approaching about 25 to 30 laps till field.
Yeah, I'm seeing Torgerson. He's slowly catching the 5. He's moving forward. Also, we did see the 30. He just pulled over and let the 27 of McCaney go by also. Definitely, he seems like the 30 might have a short run car where the 5 or the 98 might be set up for the long run.
And behind them, Richie Coy just getting around Case McMullen. Dale Nearad also in this group. They're chasing down Jeff Winter, so it could be a matter of minutes before they are caught up to this group. But up front, it's Greg Holt. But Bobby Terrell in that number 5 has continued to get bigger and bigger in the mirror as he is chasing him down. Now, Ed, you weren't here, but Chris was. Bobby Terrell dominated at Atlanta, a track that's very similar to this track here at Charlotte. Dominated Atlanta, and Jeff Winter won on a last lap pass. And maybe we're starting to see maybe the inverse here tonight as Bobby Terrell's chasing down Greg Holt. I think he's going to get there pretty soon, Ed.
Yeah, he's definitely closed this gap. Right now he's up to down to 0.4 of a second compared to before. I think he was a little about 1.2 seconds back.
And Chris, I think that you're looking at this race right now. I'm a little bit surprised to see just how much of a transition that this track has already gone through. Charlotte notorious for not taking rubber, but already we've had Jeff Winter really looking loose and moving backwards. Bobby Terrell moving forward right now. I think we got Chris. And Greg Holt nearly put it in the wall. He has gone through the Roval section of the track, and he has lost a ton of time. He continues to drop. Greg Holt, wow.
What a good job of saving that car and not actually going spinning down through the grass. Thank God for that good turf on the front of this track here.
Yeah, that track, exactly right. They have turf down there, so it's not grass. So it really is like almost driving on asphalt down there. And obviously he did get through the Roval section of the track. But Bobby Terrell took the lead. He inherited it from Greg Holt there. And now we have a battle on our hands behind that as Richie Coy, Casey McMullen, and Greg Holt now all in this little group here. And, you look at these guys, it looks like this could be a situation where those RPM drivers are just a little bit loose right now.
Yeah, that definitely could be just a little bit loose. Right now, Holt just needs to regroup, regain his composure, and just get settled back in and wait till that first pit stop. Maybe make a little bit of an adjustment, but not too much of a swing.
We do, and on that little incident there for Holt, he ended up losing almost 2.5 seconds just in that one lap, and almost another half a second the lap after that. So he's still trying to get his rhythm back here, and that's one of the biggest issues with this track. It's not a short track, so it's not one of those where you have to remain focused all the time. But at this point, he kind of cooked those tires getting loose like that, going through that artificial grass, and now he just got to kind of ride it out here because we still are about 23 laps away from pit stops.
Yeah, we're looking a little bit. Oh, and Dale Nearad loose on the bottom inside of Richie Coy. He's still loose. And he had to go down to the apron. So Dale Nearad in the 03 holds on to that machine. We got some drivers getting a little bit loose out here, but not Bobby Terrell, who continues to increase his gap over Troy Torgerson. We do have a pitter. It is Jeff Bratton. He has decided enough's enough. He had dropped to 38th on the track, and he has gone ahead and put that machine in the pits.
Well, and if you're not having the best of night, then it helps for you to go ahead and head down pit road. I mean, it's a long race. I don't think you're going to run out of tires here with the amount of sets that these guys have. So, I mean, why not take that gamble if you're not running up here in the top 5 or 10?
Now let's take a look at the track map. So Bobby Terrell in 3 and 4, the tail end of the field, which is John Held and Tony Solari. Those guys are entering turn 1. So Jeff Bratton, his service is down and away, lap 40. And Chris, we think that they can do somewhere between 55 and 60 laps here tonight. So we're looking at least two more pit stops. For Bratton, you're looking at probably 3 or 4 pit stops if he's going to pit every 40.
But if he does that, he may be able to make up that time with those fresh tires on everyone else. The fall off here is pretty substantial, almost 2.5 seconds all over the course of a run. So why not take that gamble if you're not looking here already for a top 5 finish?
Top 3 currently under a blanket, 1.17 seconds separate Bobby Terrell to Randy McCanny. Jeff Winter has got his groove back a little bit, but now Case McMullen, defending winner at this track. Case McMullen, it gets a big run off the turn, and Jeff Winter I don't think was expecting it. McMullen had to take evasive action down to the bottom, and Winter's going to hold on to that spot now, but McMullen in the 71 continuing to move forward. Kurt Davidson is the biggest gainer inside the top 10. He has moved up into 8th place, up 7 spots. And Dean Doucet, we have to keep talking about him, up 19 spots into 12th spot. He is chasing down Ralph Nolan right now. Bernard Person right behind him, up 6. And Rachel Hunt also having a good night, up 9 spots into 14th right now, Ed. We look at some of these other drivers around here. Gil Gawk up 10 spots. So we've talked a lot about these drivers, the comers and goers, but there's still some drivers making some progress toward the front of the field.
Yeah, there's definitely a few drivers making towards. We have a few drivers that going the wrong way tonight so far. With Brian Bliss, he's down 21 positions so far. Maybe going the wrong way. They're gonna hope to get to that pit stop and make some sort of adjustment before it gets dark, I think.
Yeah, Brody Hanna dropping 19 spots. Joe Flanagan dropping 18 spots down. You got Jeff Bratton down 26, but he's already made his pit stop. And now these guys down here that have dropped those positions, they have to kind of hang on because you don't want to make that off sequence too badly because then you could really be caught out. But caution free so far. I don't want to say it too much, but because we don't want to jinx it. But these guys doing a great job. Bobby Terrell leading 7/10 over Troy Torgerson, and then McCanny is 1.2 back. But Chris, you have to, you were there with Atlanta, and you saw Bobby Terrell dominate that race and lose in the last lap pass by Jeff Winter, who led the only lap. His only lap of the race was the last one. Bobby Terrell really has a knack for these 1.5 milers, though.
He certainly does, and showed it definitely at Atlanta, though he wasn't able to make it to the one lap that actually mattered at the track. So it'll be interesting to watch here tonight if he's able to hold on to that lead like he does right now, because still a long way to go, Jared.
Yeah, exactly right. And let's take a look at our defending race winner here, Case McMullen. We jump on board with him, and we look at the gap. He has brought that gap down to inside 0.8 of a second. And Ed, you were talking about earlier, analyzing those driver lines. McMullen, one of those drivers, running a little bit higher in 3 and 4 than the rest of the field right now.
Some of these drivers, 1 and 2, it seems like everyone's trying to stay towards the bottom, but 3 and 4, I think as people start to move up faster to the top, in 3 and 4 lane in the long run.
Exactly right there, and you look at these guys continuing to battle out here as Winter drops back just a little bit. So the top 5 hasn't changed too much. Richie Coy still hanging on to 7th. Greg Holt has regained some composure or whatever, and gotten that number 32/91 machine back under control into 6th place. He is chasing down right now Jeff Bratton on those fresher tires in that awesome Memorial Day special as well for him. But Chris, right now up front, you look at this has been a hot season for Troy Torgerson. I mean, he has been on a roll, but you look at the right front of that car, I see a little damage.
Yeah, a little bit of damage early on here. May not be such a big issue as he'll be able to repair that if we can get a caution here. But the problem is these guys are notorious for going long green flag runs here. We may not even have a caution here tonight.
Yeah, 200 laps would be a long race if you weren't able to take a second. But right now, we bring up a track map, and you got 33rd through 36th that are going to be on the cusp. So we're going to have lap traffic here in probably the next 10 laps or so, right in the cusp of pit stops. So this is going to make this very interesting right now. As I have to be honest, I'm kind of surprised. Troy Torgerson, we saw him drop back at the beginning of the run, but that car, he has been about the same the entire time in this race.
He certainly has. I mean, at this point, it's just kind of a little bit about consistency. It hasn't been him necessarily falling off more so than he was at the beginning, as much so as Bobby Terrell in that 5 gaining speed. So he's kind of playing the consistency card here.
Yeah, he is. He's done very well so far, but Troy Torgerson right there. Right behind him is Jeff Bratton in that machine, and he is trying to race his way back on to 1 lap down, so he is currently shown 2 laps down. John Held has also made a pit stop, leaving us with 36 drivers that haven't pitted yet and 36 drivers on the lead lap. Right now, Tony Solari is that driver in 36, and he is right in front of Bobby Terrell. He is about to go a lap down. A little bit of a tough night for the 74 machine as he will go 1 lap down, and looks like Jeff Bratton's going to get hit one of his laps back at the same time.
Yeah, and just the amount of the speed that Bratton has right now with those fresh tires, you can see it right here. I mean, it is a tremendous amount of speed he has.
And bring up the dashboard, and you see right there 160 miles an hour through the turn. Now, he has been out there, looks like, I mean, he pitted, he's on 14-lap-old tires now, so there's quite a bit even now, and you see some other drivers heading to pit road. Looks like Brad Patterson in, but Bobby Terrell getting down to about 140 miles an hour in the turns, so quite a bit of difference there. Now, Chris, you were at 50. You could split this race up into thirds at this point in time. Do you make that early call to go on the pit stop, or do you want to go long, and that way you have that extra down?
I don't know. It's really going to determine how much time you're losing to everyone around you. You don't want to wait to the last possible moment, because when those guys come back out, I mean, you saw it right there with Bratton, they're going to be tremendously faster than you. So you're just going to continue to give up time the longer you stay out, and you may not be able to make a return on it at the end of the race.
We look at Kurt Davidson. He's up 7 spots, but chasing him down is the number 29 of Dean Doucet, who's just gotten by Bernard Person. But again, we got pit stop starting. Rachel Hunt is in. Chad Lang, Tony Solari, and Tracy Powers all in. Brad Patterson, Greg Holt, and Chad Lang all have made their pit stops. So we've got pit stops starting here at lap 50, and it's a little bit early. But as you were talking about, Chris, strategy is going to play a big role in this race tonight. And Troy Torgerson now on pit road. So that's going to move Casey McMullen into second place. And Ed, you know, now is crucial when you're getting on and off pit road. Make a mistake, but this is an opportunity to gain some time as well.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to speed. That's the most important thing under green flags conditions, because you'll definitely go down a lap. But some of these guys, they could get aggressive getting on and aggressive getting off. Just be careful not to lose it coming out of turn 2 when you're getting back on the throttle.
McMullen is in. Jeff Winter will inherit the lead, so he'll get that bonus point for leading a lap. Richie Coy and Dale Nearad continue to stay out. Bernard Person stays out, but we also have Randy McCanny on pit road, Kurt Davidson, Bill Benedict, Mike Watts, Stephen Loomis, all on pit road currently. So the gate is open, the pay window is ready, and these guys now, the strategy is going to come up. Who's going to stretch it out a little bit longer? Who's already made that pit stop call? As you see, Jeff Winter slowing down, so the 30 is going to come into pits, and the 19 is going to follow him in along with Dale Nearad. So who is going to stay out? Nobody so far. Gil Gock will stay out.
I do. Sorry, I had to switch my thing from push to talk to open all the time as I...
Wayne Grossi also staying out so far. So right now, we look at it, Ed, only the top 11 haven't pitted yet.
Yeah, they could be stretching out for their fuel, just seeing. I think the tire fall off though for them right now. They're going to lose so much time to these guys on new tires.
Gil Gock continuing to stay out. Kenneth Schultz also still staying out. We haven't talked a lot about him, but he is doing a good job in that 91. He's one of those drivers on the cusp of the top 25. So bonus points could be something that some of these drivers like Gil Gock, Kenneth Schultz, Steven Vrooman are all looking at as well. TJ Bartel, notorious for being able to save tires, save even fuel a little bit. But now you're in that position, Chris, where you're slow, and now you have fast guys.
Yeah, and that's actually an issue that we had at, I believe it was Darlington when we went there. We had cars that stayed out trying to play a little bit different strategy, and really it made a hard time for the leaders that were trying to get around. And in the end, it ended up causing a caution because of just together after the pit stop sequence.
See TJ Bartel, and you see the speed difference as Rachel Hunt and Dean Doucet go flying by. Vrooman, Palicki, Joe Flanagan in the number 53 Pepto Joe Concertina channel on YouTube plays the concertina. It's really cool. You gotta check that out if you're interested in music. James Torrey, Troy, all have elected to continue to stay out. So we're down to 8 drivers. At the same time all that's going on, Jeff Winter has done the best lap of the race at a 30.12. While these guys are on old tires, Chris, they're running 32 fours or even 33-second laps.
Absolutely. It's about 2.5 seconds easily those fresh tires have on these guys with the older tires. But, at this point, you've kind of made your bed. You kind of have to play it out and go as long as you possibly can in hopes that you're able to make up that track position at the end of the next run.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Wayne Grossi Motorsport Racing guys. The 7 and the 88, they're on the same team. They have elected to stay out and play this thing long. Bobby Terrell also on that team. He's elected to come in, and Mike Watts is elected to come in. But now, at the flip side, Ed, if we get a caution, there's only 8 drivers on the lead lap right now. This would be huge for these drivers that are electing to play it long.
Yeah, it definitely would be huge because they would be able to come in, get tires. Everybody else would have to take a waiting around. And, exception of Brad Patterson right now, he'd get the lucky dog. But everyone else would be about 17 cars would have to take a waiting around.
That's quite a bit. Gil Gach continuing to lead. Good job for Gil Gach tonight, having a great run in that number 85 Geezer Garage. And he is continuing to stay out there. And he's running 32-second lap times. Kenneth Schultz is closing him down a little bit. And he is also continuing to stay out on the track. TJ Bartel is up at the 3rd spot. Grossi, Steven Vrooman, and Andrew Policki, who are part of Rage and Moose Racing, they are both also still out there, as well as Joe Flanagan, part of Fury Motorsports, there in the number 53. So we got some split strategies on the teams. And sometimes, Chris, when you're on a team and you kind of have that ability to kind of play a split strategy, that also works in your favor as well.
It certainly does, because you, for one, come up with that game plan together, but also if you're doing a different strategy than your teammate, you can kind of see whether or not it's going to work in this first run or not, just by comparing data with your teammates.
And right now, our de facto leader on the track would be Troy Torgerson when this all circles back around. And he has got... Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry about that. I was just about to bring that up, that Bobby Terrell ended up losing 2 spots in that exchange of pit stops.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell, you're exactly right. He dropped behind Greg Holt, who has gained that time back. And he pitted a little bit earlier than these other 2 drivers. He pitted on 50, Torgerson on 52, and Bobby Terrell on 53, Winter on 54. So a little bit differing strategy, but Ed, as you talked about it, that undercut, if you will, helped out Greg Holt, but kind of hurt Bobby Terrell, who's trying to fight back on the outside right now.
Yeah, it did. But as we saw Bobby Terrell at the end of the run, he just came back alive. One thing I was just watching was Doucet actually clipped the wall coming out of turn 4 the last lap.
So Dean Doucet letting that thing hang out right now, and it still looks pretty good. Don't see a whole lot of damage, if any, on that 29. Maybe just grazed it. Edward, did he hit it hard?
I don't think he hit it too hard, but he definitely, this time around, he didn't go that close to the wall.
So there you go. But Dean Doucet in 18th position right now on the track. But again, Chris, I'm looking at these guys. Wayne Grossi has been caught by Troy Torgerson and been passed. So these guys that are staying out long are starting to get caught by the guys that have already made their pit stop.
Yeah, the strategy's just not working out for them like they're hoping. The only thing that these guys can hope for at this point is that it'll come around and they'll be able to pick up the lead again on the next cycle of pit stops and maybe catch a well-timed caution that'll get them back on the same sequence as everyone else.
And this shot right down the back straightaway, you can see how much that gap is between Torgerson and Holt right now. It's 2 seconds, but Holt is gaining a little bit of time on Torgerson. Now, he does have slightly older tires, which can help out in the middle part of the run, keeping up that speed. But right now, 4 drivers still are staying out. Gil Gach leading that battalion right now, and Kenneth Schultz is actually chasing him down a little bit. Jeff Bratton is on pit road again, so he's already made his 2nd stop of the night here on lap number 66. So things aren't going to plan for the 55. And Gil Gach still, he is still staying out, Chris. I got to say, I'm a little bit surprised. At some point in time, you got to cut your losses, I would feel like.
Yeah, I can't imagine that this strategy is going to play out well for him, because when he comes out, he's pretty much going to be a lap down already, and just going to have to wait for the whole round of pit stops to be over with, or to start again before he can even make up any time on these guys. I mean,
Well,
yes, he'll be faster when he comes back out, but I just don't think he's going to be able to make up the time that he's lost.
well, Chris, let's hear me out here, guys. I think these guys can make it on 2 stops. So pitting on lap 68 is Gil Gach and Steven Vrooman. So 68 and would be what? So you're talking about what, 136? Yeah, these guys can make 2 stops, where everybody else is going to have to come in for 3.
Yeah, it's still going to be tough because you're talking about managing these tires for so long, and also people just trying to get around you. Man, Vrooman, he really locked up those tires coming into the pits. He was sideways for a moment.
Kenneth Schultz got his lap led. He is going to come in. TJ Bartel is in. So now, Ed, we have some drivers that they're looking at the 2-stop strategy. Chris, I know you said that they have to manage the tires, but I have to think that these guys on the 2-stop strategy, they might have figured something out here, Ed.
Maybe, but in my opinion, I think that the 2-stop strategy, you just lose too much time. These guys, the fast cars, they were too far behind when they started that, I think.
But they did try something, and we'll have to see how that plays out, as we are now 70 laps into this Charlotte race. I mean, we have been racing here for about 50 minutes. This race has gone by quick. Sorry, 35 minutes. My timing's a little off. 35 minutes. And we're already almost halfway here. Torgerson, Terrell, Holt, or Winter and Holt, McCanny, your top 5 right now on the track. And we look back through the rest of this group. McCanny in 5th. He's getting chased down by our defending winner, Case McMullen. Richie Coy in 7th place, having a solid run. Dale Nearad in 8th. And then we have Dean Doucet in 9th, who just got around Chad Lang. So it's taken some time, Chris, but Dean Doucet has gotten himself from 31st into the top 10 finally.
Yeah, he's finally up there, and man, what a great run for him, having to start so far back and really showing that, as you've mentioned, that he is like the king at Charlotte, and he's trying to prove it here tonight, coming back from so much far, kind of like a Kyle Busch in any Xfinity race.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. Although I don't know if Dean Doucet would like to be compared to Kyle Busch, but man, he is doing a heck of a job out here as we continue to watch him here. He just got around Chad Lang. Now we in the foreground there, you'll see Gil Gach. It'll be interesting to see what he can do on those super fresh tires compared to everybody else. And you'll see the speed difference here as Gil Gach's going to go underneath Dean Doucet and start making his way toward getting one of those laps back. And then we're getting to this halfway point. Part of the race is, it's 200 laps. It's kind of an endurance race. What do you do inside the car to kind of make sure you're comfortable and focused on the race as this continues to be a green flag race tonight?
It's pretty much just got to keep focused, drink some water, keep yourself awake, grab some, I don't know, got any beverage sponsors here to keep everyone awake?
There you go. But right now, the battle for the lead is heating up, folks. Torgerson, Terrell, and Winter are all under a blanket. And now Terrell's going to look to the outside again, trying to make a move on the 98, Chris.
Yeah, he's going to have a great run coming up off the corner here. And, man, he still can't get it done, though, as Torgerson in that 98 was able to shut the door on him. But he's going to look low going into 3, Ed.
Yeah, he's got Torgerson's got quite a bit of damage on that right front fender, too, I noticed. As Terrell makes the pass on the inside, we'll see if he clears him from out of 4.
And looking at the pit lane times and pit stop times, Torgerson actually the fastest. So if he has damage on that car, he elected not to get it repaired with that fast time. But these guys side by side through turn 1 and 2. Jeff Winter just sitting there waiting to see who's going to prevail there. Know where he can go. Bobby Terrell, it's a drag race down into 3, Chris.
It certainly is. That outside groove just gets the power out of the corner so much better than the inside here. But, man, Terrell's going to slide up here, and it looks like he's going to clear him coming out of 4.
Bobby Terrell back to the lead, the point leader in the lead. Torgerson drops to 2nd, Jeff Winter to 3rd. At the same time, Greg Holt has kind of dropped off this battle down to 3 seconds, and Casey McMullen chasing him down right now into 5th place. He just got around Randy McCanny to put himself into the top 5 tonight. So we got a battle on our hands, guys. And Torgerson's coming back on Bobby Terrell into 3.
He certainly is. He drops to that low area trying to get the tires on that paint, but it's still not enough as Terrell's going to have the run coming out of the corner there. And you're talking about Casey McMullen, the 71. He's not just catching Greg Holt. He's catching our leaders here.
There's an enticing battle still side by side through the turns. Let's bring up that time delta here and take a look and see how Casey McMullen is doing compared to our race leader here, which is going to be Bobby Terrell. So let's take a look here. That gap has come down from 4.23 seconds down to 2.96. Casey McMullen is coming, and he's coming in a hurry. He's going to catch these guys, I think, if they keep battling like this.
I think so too. You know, and the thing is, that are leading.
I think we lost Chris there, Ed. But Ed, I mean, these guys, if they keep battling like this, they're going to start having some more company in here.
Yeah, I definitely. McMullen, he is fast right now. He's just about caught up to Holt coming into turn 3 here as he goes to the outside. I was also watching Winner up there in the front, and he is just waiting for those two, Terrell or Torgerson, to make a mistake.
Well, it's kind of an advantage Winter, isn't it, Ed? Because he doesn't have to burn his stuff up. He just gets to sit there and wait, hang out for a little bit, and gets to see, maybe take advantage of both of these guys.
Yeah, he might be able to sneak by and pass them both if they keep battling the way they are.
Casey McMullen is looking under Holt going into 3.
There's Casey McMullen. He is there, the 71 and the 91 battling side by side, the 32 technically, and right there in the background is Gil Gawk, who is the leader of the potential 2-stop strategy. He's in 26th position, 1 lap down right now, so that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. But Casey McMullen is going to prevail, so put the 71 machine up to 4th place. Now, you're looking at pit stops in about 20 laps for these guys, Chris. Is that enough time for Casey McMullen to catch up to the lead group here?
You know, it's going to be very tight if he is. I mean, he's been gaining about a 10th a lap, and so just looking based on that time, he's not going to be up there to catch them. But if he plays it out like he did the last pit stop cycle, he might actually be able to make up time on the pit stop itself, which is where he seemed to be making up most of his time.
And we take a look at the pit lane times here, and we bring that up, and that is a really good point to bring out, Chris, is you look at these guys, the pit lane time for these guys, unbelievable times. Casey McMullen, 42.75. He was not the quickest. Jeff Winter was at 42.43, but still a very solid time as you see Gil Gawk working underneath Casey McMullen. That is not for position. Gil Gawk trying to fight his way back to the lead lap. He has got only 20 laps on those tires, or actually 12 laps on those tires, apologies. So something we're going to have to keep an eye on. But right now, we are at lap 82 of 200. We have 25 drivers on the lead lap, with Brian Bliss being the last of those in 25th position. Actually, he just went a lap down, so we have 24 drivers on the lead lap.
Speaking of Brian Bliss there, as coming out of turn 2, he got loose right in front of the leaders of Bobby Terrell and almost lost it.
The 18 not having the night he wanted. Started 4th and has basically dropped since then in that number 18 machine. I think that's a retro Bobby Labonte Memorial Day throwback. I could be wrong. Might be a Kyle Busch one, but I like that paint that he has for Memorial Day as well. But 24 drivers on the lead lap. Jason Spears is going to be the next driver. He's going to get caught here probably within a lap or two. And then Lane Allen is ahead of this battle as well with Mike Watts. They're battling side by side. Watts gets loose. Wow, and Watts is into the wall. And he holds on to it. Somebody else got loose on the back straightaway. I did not catch who that was, but I think we're good. I think we're going to stay green. That is, I still don't know who that was.
Might have been Benedict.
Bill Benedict. It was. There you go. Bill Benedict in the Lego number 90 machine. That car has got something going on as he's gingerly heading into pit road. So Bill Benedict is on pit road, unscheduled stop for the 90 machine. Back up front, Chris, Torgerson got a mirror full of Jeff Winter as Bobby Terrell continues to step away.
Yeah, Terrell is kind of picking up where he left off in that last run and is now starting to pull away from these guys. But Torgerson not able to get away from Winter at all. He is right on his bumper and has been for the last.
Just wanted to give you a quick update of Bill Benedict. The 2 was underneath him, and he came down, and they made contact, and Benedict went into the wall.
So it did not bring out a caution, but that is going to hurt the number 90 machine of Bill Benedict, who drops from inside the top 20 all the way back to 37th, as we have all the drivers still running in the race, being the last car running in 38th, 2 laps down right now. That's an amazing feat, as this race can be very attrition-filled. But right now, Bobby Terrell and company, they have some. Jason Spear is there, Mike Watts, Tony Solari, John Held, Lane Allen, all right in front of our race leaders right now.
Man, and I'm going to have to eat my words. Gil Clock is coming. He is on a tear. He was 3 seconds behind these guys. Now he's right there with them, within shot.
And that would put him back on the lead lap the hard way, if you will, if he's able to do it. And he's also picking up spots, so he's also passed Brian Bliss and will pass Jason Spear on the track. He's just got to be a little bit patient. Now, we have 4 drivers that did that strategy. Give you guys an update on those guys. Kenneth Schultz, TJ Bartel, Gil Gok. As we look at Kenneth Schultz, he's just now getting through some of this other traffic. Steven Vrooman also in that group. Those are the 4 drivers, along with James Torrey, who pitted 1 lap before that we think can make it on just 2 stops here tonight.
And you said something about patience. I don't think that 85 car has it. He was looking to go 3 wide there to get around some of those lap cars and on the number 98.
Well, if you look in the mirror, Ed, TJ Bartel in that number 88 machine, he is there. So that is kind of a battle for, I don't want to say the win or the lead, but that's a battle on the track that Gil Gok's got to be aware of.
Yeah, definitely with that pit strategy. That's who he's fighting right now. He's got to keep him behind him, and 2 of them got to be careful. The leaders, they're pretty close right in here.
This is what I call an old-fashioned gaggle on the track. Gil Gok is going to clear Troy Torgerson, and Bobby Terrell still has been able to scoot away and put drivers a lap down at the same time. So this is helping Gil Gok, TJ Bartel, and Kenneth Schultz all gain spots at the same time as they are trying to get back on the lead lap. Gok can clear air, though, so he might get his lap back here. Flip side, these guys that pitted on lap 50, you got about 10 laps before you're going to have to come back down pit road if you're going to play that strategy out.
Yeah, you certainly do. And, that's going to be one thing that's going to kind of throw a mix into this. These guys are already in lap traffic now. At this point, if you get caught a lap down, as we see the 3 getting passed here by Bobby Terrell, do you immediately just want to go ahead and hit the pits and hope that you can gain back some of that time on the leaders?
I think that's a really interesting thing. Ed, how do you feel about the pit strategy call there?
Right now, if you're that far back to 3, it could be a good, especially with a fuel run this early in the race. He could make up 5-6 seconds. You never know with those new tires.
We know these guys can go 70 laps on tires, so that means 1/3 or 70 laps on fuel at the most. So that means these guys would be looking at lap 130 to make their finals anytime after that lap to make their final pit stop. So Gil Gok back on the lead lap. It'll give us 22 drivers on the lead lap, as TJ Bartel is going to be the next driver to get his lap back as well here. And Chris, you look at some of these other drivers toward the back here that could be going a lap down. Lane Allen was following Dean Doucet through the field and just had a bad pit lane time. 55.3 seconds, the slowest of all of our leaders. He lost 10 seconds to Dean Doucet on pit road alone, and he is looking to go a lap down here shortly.
Well, we talk a little bit about mistakes, and it may not seem like a penalty, but that doesn't mean that it isn't costly by being slow getting off of pit road. And, you've got to, it's one of those things in iRacing. Yeah, your pit stop basically is the same as the drivers around you, depending on how well you get into your stall. But it's really about how you get on and off of pit road critical, especially on these long green flag runs like we're experiencing here tonight.
Yeah, his pit lane time, 55.3 seconds. Our fastest tonight was the race leaders in the 42-second range. So you can see there, 13 seconds he lost on pit lane just alone. And now he did have a slower stop. He might have had some damage repaired on that machine, but not that wasn't some other issues there, as TJ Bartel now pushes wet past Bobby Terrell and Brad Patterson. That was for position. So Gil Gawk and TJ Bartell are actually picking up spots on the track. This could be something crucial here as this race goes on, Ed.
And from the moment that Gil Gawk has gotten around our leader, he has kind of pulled away from him and really put a lot of distance between himself and the leader. So this strategy may end up being the right call.
I cannot wait to see how this plans out. It seems like, you know, you watch those old Coca-Cola 600s before the stages, and you had so many of those races that came down to some sort of fuel play or fuel strategy. It could be another one of those classic Coca-Cola races that we had back in the day, as Gil Gawk is actually catching Brody Hanna. That's for position, but TJ Bartell is only 0.6 of a second behind him. So that battle for position on your pit strategy is pretty close between these two drivers. They've kind of left Kenneth Schultz and Steven Vroom behind. They're 3 seconds back, just not getting through the traffic as easily as those two guys, Chris.
Well, and the reason for that is those tires. These guys may have ran a little bit harder on this run, which is not making it as easy for them to get around. I mean, Gil Gawk is really setting the pace, and you mentioned that behind him, TJ Bartell was also fast, but he's still almost about 0.2 of a lap slower than Gil Gawk.
That last time, actually the last time by, he was quicker, about 0.05 of a second quicker. Not much, but he did pick up a little bit of time, but we'll see if, how that changes. But right now, our leaders on the track, Troy Torgerson getting around lap traffic. We saw this in the race last night in the real life race. The guys get that lap traffic, and then they stall out, and I think a little bit of that happened with Troy Torgerson. He's dropped the spot to Jeff Winter, who may have made some adjustments as he's starting to reel in Bobby Terrell a little bit, Chris, as we have our first pit stop taker, John Held, on pit road.
We certainly do, and I think a little bit of what helped there is that Bobby Terrell is kind of having to dodge these guys that with the fresher tires and while getting around these lap cars, and Jeff Winter, as we noted earlier in the broadcast, he was able to save his tires by following behind Terrell and Torgerson while they were side by side. So that's starting to play out here, showing that it was maybe might have been a pretty good strategy for that number 30.
Jeff Winter, 2 wins on the season. Bobby Terrell, 1 win on the season, but we know that he himself. Now, we do have some guys out here watching. We got Pepto Joe Jr., that's Joe Flanagan's son. He said Joe played that concertina all weekend, so shout out to Joe and his channel there. Jeff Chandler says that RPM Motorsports will be better once that sun goes down, so watch out. Man, that's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen as the sun is starting to set here, Chris, as this race continues.
The leaders are on pit road.
Terrell, Torgerson, and McMullen have all made commitments to go to pit road, along with Kurt.
And Jeff Winter stayed out to lead that lap, so he is still out there. Randy McCanny, Richie Coy, Greg Holt, Dale Nearad, and Chad Lang behind him.
There's Richie Coy in the 19. We got some more drivers on pit road. Bobby exiting pit road, I should say. We got Jason Spear in, Joe Flanagan in, Mike Watts in, Polisky is in, staying out. Apologies, he is not pitted. Wayne Grossi is also staying out. And we've got a couple other drivers coming into pit road as Richie Coy inherits the lead. We got, looks like several drivers still staying out. So we got Coy, Holt, Near still on the pits, as well as, are on the track, I should say, have not pitted yet. Nearad peels off. He's going to head to pit road now.
He certainly is, but Richie Coy is elected to stay out here, him and Greg Holt both. So it looks like they are going a little bit longer to make up time at the end of the run here. Man, this track's about to completely change, Jared.
And it is right at lap 100. This race, what can you ask for here tonight? As we are at 8:30 in game, Richie Coy is going to head down. That's going to turn the lead over to Greg Holt and Ralph Nolan. Also, looks like he is going to stay out here for at least another lap. But Greg Holt going to take over the lead again, and right behind him, Bobby Terrell and Troy Torgerson trying to get their laps back.
Yeah, and they'll easily be able to do so as these guys are. And Jared, the track temperature has already dropped 3 degrees in the last 10 laps.
Let's look at that track temp so we remember it started at 94 when the race started. We are down to 90, and Chris has said it's dropped even more in the last few minutes here in the race. So this track is going to continue to change, but right now, as you can see up in that top right corner, it is 2023. That means it's 8:23 in game right now. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. Sunset is 8:40 at this track, a complete sunset at 8:40. So that's going to be coming up very shortly.
Man, these guys are in for a huge treat when this track gets a little bit cooler. Time should get a little bit faster. Tire wear will be a little bit less worrisome. And that'll play into some guys' hands here. But these guys out here really doing everything they can to get the most out of this race here tonight. And it's really surprising to see what they're able to do here with these different strategies right now.
Well, Chris, you know, you look at this, Greg Holt and Ralph Nolan, they both pitted, Holt on 50, Nolan on 55, and never mind. I was going to wonder if they were going to stretch it out, but Holt is on pit road as we speak. Ralph Nolan looks like to have signaled that he is going to come in, but he may stay out to lead a lap, so he is going to stay out and lead a lap. But is there a chance that you might switch that strategy up and maybe play for a longer game? You could still do that.
Yeah, you certainly can, and it won't hurt anything at this point. It just means you're going to lose a little bit of time on the leaders here while you're going around. But, you know, it's certainly worth a shot, especially if you don't feel like you're going to have a shot to win any other way.
And now the question is, how are Gil Gach and TJ Bartel going to come out of this? Because Ralph Nolan is on pit road, so that's going to turn the lead over to Gil Gach, who has a half a second lead over TJ Bartel. But don't look now. Bobby Terrell is on the lead lap, and he is only 4 seconds behind these guys. And he's got, quick math, 32 lap newer tires?
32 lap newer tires, and he is almost a half a second a corner faster than these guys.
32.38 for Gil Gach last time. Terrell, a 31.05. That is a second and a third that he is a quicker than. And, oh, somebody's up in the wall. Was that Torgerson that may have gotten loose and hit the wall? Yes, he did. Jeff Winter is closed up on the backs. These guys, they are battling for position now. Gach and Bartel have got to stick this strategy out at this point in time and hope, because now, Chris, I don't know. I don't know what the strategy is going to look like, man.
I don't either. And, man, TJ Bartel is doing whatever he can to get up here into the lead. He is right on Gil Gach. I mean, he's just it's kind of like he used Gil Gach to get around all these guys and save his stuff a little bit more.
Terrell is catching. He knows that Terrell's catching. He wants to lead a lap and get that lap led before that opportunity maybe goes away from him. But they are, I think, Chris, if I'm doing the math correct, we're thinking 136 is when they're going to have to come into pits. So they're about 26 laps from pitting, and Terrell has caught them.
Caught and passed in one corner. He caught and passed TJ Bartel, and he is right there going down the backstretch, already side by side, going to take this lead back.
My goodness, we jump on board Jeff Winter. It is all kinds of stuff all over the place. James Torrey is up against the wall there as well. So we got three different races going on. We got the race for the lead between two different pit strategies, and then we have these drivers trying to work their way through lap traffic at the same time. This is the most congealed track I think I've seen all season, Chris.
Yeah, it is a very big mess of different strategies.
So right now, Bobby Terrell now takes over the lead by about half a second. And as you know, it has been pretty to see how these guys have done it. I mean, they have gone through two pit cycles, and the top three haven't been separated at all in this race so far. As Torgerson getting the mirrorful again from Jeff Winter. Right behind him is Brody Hanna and Gary Griffith. That's not for position on the track, but that is for position for the lucky dog. Should we get a caution, Brody Hanna wanting to stay in that position. We do have some drivers still staying out long. Joe Flanagan, one of those drivers that haven't pitted. Andrew Poliski in 16th hasn't pitted. Dean Doucet has pitted. Kenneth Schultz, who's dropped to 10th, he has not pitted. And Steven Vrooman in 8th has not pitted, along with Bartel and Gach. Chris, we look at this race. I mean, we are now on the back half of this race. The sun continuing to go down. The lights are coming on here at Charlotte. we're going to see some comers and goers, I think. But then we have this pit strategy to come on. I mean, this is going to be a crazy end to this race.
It certainly is, but you know, the more this strategy goes out, these guys are just losing too much time to your leaders. I mean, they've lost 4 seconds, 5 seconds now. I just don't see that they're going to be able to make that up, Jared.
So let's think about this for a second. So Bobby Terrell, we're predicting that these guys that pitted on lap 100 or thereabouts will come in around lap 150 with 50 laps to go. We're predicting that Gil Gach and TJ Bartel on the 2-stop strategy, they'll be coming in at lap 136, which is about 14 laps before these guys, but they won't have to pit anymore. So that, I think, I mean, I have to say, I think the advantage is the 3-stop.
Yeah, I have to agree. And man, these guys are doing everything they can to maintain what track position that they have, but the cars are just flying past them.
Yeah, it's hard at this point in time. Gil Gach and TJ Bartel, I mean, you got to run your race, but at the same time, you're kind of in the way, unfortunately, and it's not their fault or anybody's fault, but it's just really difficult to be a part of the race when you're on the older tires. But man, oh man, they are giving it everything they got, and both these drivers toward the back end of the points. So number one, they're getting some great exposure tonight on Full Throttle TV, but number two, this could be just a points play to get themselves in a little bit better points position they would have been running the other way. But we look at Vrooman and Kenneth Schultz. They are battling for 10th. Those guys also on that long strategy, along with Poliski in 17th and Joe Flanagan in 20th place. We look at some of these other drivers, Chris. Haven't talked a lot about Gary Griffith tonight. He's up 14 spots, started shotgun on the field. He's up to 23rd. Sherwood Williford just doesn't look like he's found the groove here tonight. A former winner at Charlotte, but tonight, 25th position, 1 lap down.
Yeah, certainly not the night that he was expecting. A lot of these guys are really just doing whatever they can to maintain the rest of this race. I mean, it's a long race here. Still a lot of racing left here to go, but man, a lot of different strategies here, and this is like the old Charlotte.
Yeah, it is. Looking further back, Randall Ballard in 26th, Mike Watts in 27th, Jason Spear in 28th. He's catching up to TJ Bartel there. Brad Patterson in 29th, just got around James Torrey. That was a battle for position. Torrey on that long alternate strategy as well. Lane Allen in 31st. And then we have Loomis in 32nd, John Held 33rd, Tracy Powers in 34th, Tony Solari hanging out in 35th, Jeff Bratton in 36th, Brian Bliss and Bill Benedict. Brian Bliss is out of the race. Bill Benedict back on the track after lengthy repairs. About 13 minutes of repairs for that number 90 machine. But we have 37 of 38 drivers still on the track, Chris. We haven't gone zero cautions through 120 laps. What a race tonight by these guys at Darkmatter Designs Cup Series.
Yeah, this is an impressive showing here, and not uncommon for these guys. So it's certainly a hard race. Man, if you're ever to do a race with these guys, you really want to set your car up for a long run, because this is impressive.
120 laps in the books, no cautions. I think there was 4 cautions last time we were at Charlotte, so might be a little bit better than that right now. Troy Torgerson has been caught, he got passed and caught, if I could talk, he got passed by Jeff Winter. Casey McMullen is chasing him down, but he's got Randy McCanny hot on the trail. Richie Coy hanging out in 6th spot, Dale Nearad in 7th, but TJ Bartel and Gil Gach still hanging into the top 10, but they've kind of cycled back to Vrooman and Kenneth Schultz, who are also on that strategy, but they were way ahead of them at one point in time, and they've already gotten kind of drawn back to them.
They certainly have, and the one thing that's worked in TJ Bartel's favor is he was able to get around Gil Gach in that 85 finally. Didn't get to lead a lap, but finally in a little bit better position than he was.
79 laps to go here at Charlotte. It's been Bobby Terrell pretty much leading most of the race. We do have an alternate strategy going on for those that don't know. TJ Bartel, Gil Gach, Kenneth Schultz, and Stephen Vrooman, along with Poliski, Flanagan, and Torrey, all on alternate strategies to do a 2-stop race here tonight. And it could pay off for a couple of those drivers with at least a good finish here tonight.
Absolutely. If it gives them a podium finish, certainly a better position than they started this race. I mean, right now, TJ Bartel up 20 positions, Gilgok up 18 positions from their start. So even just being in the back half of the top 10 is a huge improvement for both of these guys.
Yeah, and TJ Bartel, he's a former champion in FTSR, not in the Cup Series, but in the Truck Series, and he's done very well in the Cup Series. But he didn't join to the Cup Series this year. He didn't get a ride in the Cup Series until about 6 races in. So he is just looking for good runs and really good looking for wins, so he can propel himself into that top 25. Because otherwise, he's sitting back in 40th in points. Gilgok is in 37th in points. These guys, they just need good runs to get themselves pointed in the right direction. But right now up front, Bobby Terrell has been caught by Jeff Winter, and we talked to Jeff Chandler, the team owner of RPM Motorsport. Drivers will start coming alive, and Jeff Winter's starting to reel in that 5 car, Chris.
He certainly is. I mean, he's doing everything that he possibly can to get up there and really contend here against that number 5. Had some serious battles in the past, so we kind of expected from them.
And we saw at Atlanta that Jeff Winter stalked Bobby Terrell most of the race, didn't lead any laps in that race, but ended up getting the win because of a late race caution and a late race restart that set it up. And Jeff Winter now looking on the inside of Andrew Poliski. Poliski going a lap down there. That is 19th spot. So 18 drivers on the lead lap with 75 laps to go. And now we have to think, Chris, that these guys looking at pit stops pretty soon here. About 10 laps for our doubles, for our 2 stoppers, and about 20 laps for our 3 stoppers.
Yeah, and looking at lap times, man, Jeff Winter has been about a tenth to a tenth and a half faster than Bobby Terrell in that 5 as he looks low going into 3.
Jeff Winter looking on the inside, and he is going to take over that spot. Or is he? Bobby Terrell fights back on the outside, and yes, Jeff Winter is going to slide up and put the 30 car back in the lead. He has not led under the green flag conditions, except without pit stops being involved yet in this race. So Jeff Winter back to the lead, and now can he set sail from the 5 car?
Well, that was a real aggressive move to get the lead as he really did a slide drop in front of Bobby Terrell, and Terrell had to get out of it to not get into the back of him. But at this point, Winter is now 4/10 already faster than him just in 2 laps.
Winter starting to eke out that gap just a little bit. That time by, Winter did a 31.95, Terrell a 32.08. So you can see that it is starting to go in Winter's favor right now as we look out the back of that 30 machine to Bobby Terrell. Troy Torgerson has dropped off from these guys. And Chris, we were talking about through the pit stops, it was, Torgerson, Winter, and Terrell, they were neck and neck the entire race. Torgerson looks like he might have lost a little bit of ground as this cycle has gone through.
He certainly has, and he also has a little bit more damage than these guys as he's hit the wall a couple times here tonight. And really, without having the ability to pit under caution here, he hasn't been able to make any repairs to that car because you don't want to lose the time out on the track. And so, that's really coming back to kind of haunt him here a little bit.
We wondered if it would, and it looks like it has, as he is now 3.5 seconds back behind Terrell and Winter. McMullen is 3 seconds further back, and he is behind right now Randy McCanney, who is getting a push down the back straightaway by Brody Hanna. So McCanney moving up into 4th spot around Case McMullen right now.
Yeah, these guys are treating it almost like a super speedway here, trying to get around everyone. And a great race for Randy McCanney in that number 27 out here tonight.
And Chris, the other thing tonight is this is a No Bull 5 event. And No Bull 5, so basically that's a system like the old Winston system that they had that was also called the No Bull 5. And there's 5 drivers eligible based on their finishes at Richmond, which was about a month ago. That's Brody Hanna, Jeff Winter, Tim Bills, who's not here, Richie Coy, and Dale Nearad. They have an opportunity to win an extra $25 by winning the race here tonight. So Jeff Winter is in that catbird seat right now in that number 30 machine with the potential to maybe add an extra $25 for tonight's win.
Yeah, adding $25 to that purse, and man, he is definitely wanting it here tonight, and kind of doing it the hard way as he's able to get up here and get around our leader under this green flag session here. Got about 6.5 tenths Bobby Terrell in that 5 car, But still a lot of racing here to go, as we're about 5 laps away from those guys that we know that are on the 2-stop needing to pit.
Ooh, Rachel Hunt disappears in front of the leaders. That's never comforting when you see a driver disappear there. Bill Benedict has passed Brian Bliss, so he is up to 37th position now. Brian Bliss, the only driver officially out of the race here, 133 laps into the race. And Chris, these pit stops for Gil Gach and TJ Bartel are imminent at this point in time.
They certainly are. Within the next 2 to 3 laps, we should expect these guys to come in. And it took until right now, about a lap ago, TJ Bartel fell out of the top 10, Jared.
And Bernard Persson passes him to get that 10th spot. Bernard Persson not having the season he's won as a defending champion, but still having a solid night nonetheless in that number 8 machine. Ralph Nolan also has passed Gil Gach, I should say, on the track to move him up. Chris, we talked about Dean Doucet. He made moves. He got up inside that top 10, but he hasn't been able to progress past that.
No, he's actually lost a little bit of time throughout the race as this thing has went farther and farther green. So it's a little bit frustrating to see that he's kind of stalled out here. It makes sense though. The closer you get to the leaders, the much harder it is to get around these guys, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing here with Dean Doucet.
So Dean Doucet 13th right now. Kurt Davidson behind him is for position, and Joe Flanagan, one of those drivers on the alternate strat, the 2-stop strategy, has hit pit road. So he's the first of the group, and now Gil Gach is in here on lap 135. Vrooman's going to follow him in. Vrooman locks up the brakes. Ooh, he hits the cone. It is the inside cone, but I believe that's a penalty no matter what if you hit any of those cones. And that's not good for Vrooman.
No, it's certainly not. We'll have to follow along to see if he gets that penalty here. But, man, what a tough break for that 00 car.
Torrey, Grassi, Gach, and Vrooman all on pit road. TJ Bartel continued to stay out. He's going to stretch this thing past lap 136. So TJ Bartel's got a little bit in the tank, and that could come back to maybe help him out a little bit here, as he'll be closer to those drivers that pit on lap 150.
Yeah, he certainly will, and but he'll, it's going to be interesting to see. He'll at least be quicker.
So TJ Bartel still staying out. We're focusing on him right now. Winter has opened up to a 1-second lead over Terrell, and Bartel slowing up. He is heading into pit road, so Bartel is going to be the next guy in. Winter, now these guys, Winter, they're about 10 to 15 laps from pit stops, but that's a big advantage that TJ Bartel able to stay out an extra 3 laps than Gil Gach and the rest of those guys.
He certainly is, and it was interesting to see there. His pit entry was pretty conservative. He must have saw what we saw with Vrooman and didn't want that to happen to him.
Looking at Vrooman, I have not seen him come back into the pit road, so I do believe if you hit that inside cone, I think that's okay. I don't think that's a penalty. So Vrooman's still staying out there. He's going to get passed by Gil Gach, and that is for position between those drivers. They're coming out in the pit in 25th position. Now TJ Bartel is down and away. He is coming out of pit road as Gil Gach goes past the start-finish line. So TJ Bartel, even with that overcut, he's able to gain some time on Gil Gach.
Well, you say that he's still got to get up to speed here, but he will gain a little bit of speed, and you can see Gil Gach just him right now.
So Gil Gach and Vrooman are actually going to get around him, but he does have that advantage of having 2-lap fresher tires. Kenneth Schultz not going to be able to quite catch up to him. He's the other driver, along with Wayne Grassi, that are on that kind of that strategy call here to go on lap 134. We do have a couple other drivers that came in. Poliski has come in the pits as well and made his final stop, what we think is the final stop of the night. But right now, up front, 60 laps to go, Chris. It's a 2-second lead for Jeff Winter.
It certainly is, and he has progressed. He's been about a 10th quicker than that second-place car the last few laps, and just pulling away from Bobby Terrell. And we talked about it earlier. Terrell had a lot more difficulty getting around other.
Yeah, that's going to be something we'll have to look at as the race goes on. A little bit of technical difficulties from Chris, but I think we got the message there. Jeff Bratton in pit road now, making his 4th stop of the night in that number 55 Special Forces Memorial Day tribute, and we look at some of these other battles on the track. It's been so much different things going on in this race, but Chad Lang having a whale of a night in 9th place as he's going to slide in front of Bernard Person to take over 9th position on the track. And then we got Greg Holt, who was in the top lead at one point in time in this race, but he's kind of settled into 7th place there, right behind Richie Coy, right in front of Dale Nearad. Be interested to see what these guys can do, as Coy is actually caught up to Casey McMullen. That could be a battle for position. McMullen very, very loose off the corner.
No, not at all. And at this point, he's just holding on about 7 laps until they're going to be making that pit stop. And we'll have to see what kind of adjustments McMullen is able to make to that machine.
It looks like the Knight has made that car very loose, the 71. Got squirrely the last couple times off turn number 2. Let's see what happens this time. And he goes up to the high side. That car's still loose. My goodness. He about dumps it right there, Chris. And James Torrey's going to have to take evasive action to get around him. The 71 is not handling good. And Richie Coy is catching him by leaps and bounds now, under a second now between those two drivers.
Yeah, McMullen really struggling here to keep that car under him coming out of the corners. And, you know, we talk about him being loose. Usually you don't get too loose as the track gets cooler. You get a lot more tight. But I think the issue that McMullen is having here is the fact that he's probably burned off that right rear tire. And so he's having to really overdrive the car coming out of the corner to maintain speed. And that's really just kicking the back end out from underneath him.
Well, the other thing too, Chris, Charlotte is notorious for not taking rubbers. So that also kind of contributes to this track not tightening up like you would see sometimes when the track temperatures change like they have. But right now, Jeff Winter continuing to set sail on Bobby Terrell. It's 3 seconds now, the gap, as we are 55 laps from the finish. Pit window is open for all the drivers to come in at this point in time. They can definitely 100% make it from here. And now Jeff Winter continuing to eke out that lead. Torgerson has started to lose some more ground as Randy McCanny continuing to catch up to Troy Torgerson, maybe get a podium here in his brand new number 27.
Yeah, that's certainly something that you want to see out of that number 27 car. You know, if you bring it to the track for the first time and get your first win, you know, that's kind of impressive.
Having a good night there. Casey McMullen in 5th place. Does look like you got that car stabilized a little bit, as Richie Coy is now having to battle with Greg Holt and Sherwood Williford, who's a lap car, and that kind of held up. And they're 3 wide. That might not work, fellas. Oh my goodness. Contact off the turn between Holt and Richie Coy, but they're going to keep it going. Holt is going to prevail to 6th place.
Wow, what close racing between these guys. And look behind them, man. These guys are just, you can throw a blanket over these 4 drivers, and not all of them.
Yeah, sure, Williford lap down. He is racing Wayne Grassi. No, he's not. I apologize. So Sherwood Williford in 18th position. The first car 1 lap down. So he's trying to hold on to that lucky dog position. Looks like he's going to slide up the track, let Dale Nearad get around there. But man, oh man, these guys battling hard for position, but that does allow Casey McMullen to kind of catch his breath and scoot out just a little bit. Now, Chris, if you're one of these race leaders, knowing that you got some guys out there on that 2-stopper, do you stretch this out a little bit so you have a little bit maybe less fuel to the end of the race here?
Yeah, that's certainly a thing to think about, but at this point, I think you've kind of made your idea as far as strategy, and I think you're going to end up hitting on 150, 151, 152, someone in there to keep it pretty similar, because you don't want to lose that time with the guys in front of you pitting a little, or behind you pitting a little bit sooner than you.
Well, Chris, we have 13 drivers on the lead lap. The last of those drivers on the lead lap right now is Dean Doucet, if you can believe that. Dean Doucet, who pushed his way through the front of this field, but just cannot get pretty much past 13th position here tonight. He is only about 3 corners, about 3/10 of a second ahead of Jeff Winter right now from being a lap down.
Yeah, and looking at Dean Doucet, he's got a little bit of damage to that right rear corner. It looks like he may have gotten a little bit loose or tight and caught the wall at some point.
And we heard Ed say that he did see him in the walls. We got some drivers Bill Benedict, apologies, he is on pit road and heading out. Sure, Williford is elected to come in. So has Kurt Davison from 13th. So the first of our lead group drivers in, that's Kurt Davison in the 41.
And Troy Torgerson in the 98 also coming in here now.
Ooh, McMullen locks it down hard, getting down the pit road. My goodness, if there was any tread left on those tires, there's not now. Hannah's also in behind him. So we got some aggressive pit stop entries for these drivers as the window is open with the last portion of this race coming to the end. And Winter's in.
Following your leader, this is the time, and we talked about it. You don't want to make a mistake coming on or off of pit road here. You don't want to speed in the pits. So these guys are trying to get...
Oh, caution! Caution! It's Sherwood Williford.
Wow. That's going to change the entire complexion of this race.
And Sherwood Williford, let's see what happens here. He comes off of pit road, and he just loops it off pit road, and the car smacks the wall. That's going to bring out the caution. Here with 50 laps to go in the middle of pit stops, Chris. Holy cow. That just saved some drivers and killed some drivers all at the same time.
Yeah, Sherwood was just trying to get as much out of that car as he possibly could coming off of the pits there, and caught the racing surface, and it just slung that car back down the track. Already was going to have a penalty for an unsafe pit exit, but man, what a horrible mistake for that 33 machine. Wasn't having a terrible night here, but it's going to change everything about this race, as now Greg Holt is scored as your leader.
So Holt is in, Chad Lang is in. There, that's your top three. Ralph Nolan, Dale Nearad, Dean Doucet. This paid off for him pretty well. Jeff Winter will actually, he didn't lose a lap because of the way that caution came out. So Jeff Winter kind of gets the benefit here. Same with Dale Nearad. Both those drivers, or sorry, Dale Nearad is has not pitted. I don't know why he hasn't come on pit road yet, but everybody else, it looks like it's going to kind of pay off for him a little bit here. Richie Coy also in that group. So we got a little bit of a mix of strategies here as some guys trying to figure out, I think, what's going on, trying to get lined up so they can pit, I think.
Yeah, I think the people that lose out on this the most are going to be those guys that were on the two-stop strategy, as they are now trapped a lap down.
That's Gil Gach, TJ Bartel, Stephen Vroom, and Kenneth Schultz. And they're trapped, and not to mention trapped, but they're also not the wave around driver. So that was actually not Troy Torgerson, who is also trapped a lap down. These guys are going to have to take the wave around if they want to still be in that position to make a move toward the front of the field. And still waiting to see what's going on with Dale Nearad. He did not pit, as well as Richie Coy. Both those drivers did not make their opportunity to take the pits. Could have been just to lead a lap, which would help Dale Nearad, who has 2 victories. And yes, the 03 is coming in now. But Chris, while we're under caution, I'm going to step away for just a second if you want to give a quick rundown of the field.
Absolutely. You can see our leader now, Dale Nearad, is giving up that lead to give it back to Jeff Winter, who's going to retain the lead on this pit stop sequence here. Bobby Terrell will be right behind him. Randy McCanney, Greg Holt, and Chad Lang, your top 5 here. Looking through the rest of the top 10, Bernard Person, Ralph Nolan Jr., Rachel Hunt makes it up into the top 10. And Dean Doucet, I believe, will round out your top 10. And a few more that are going to be able to get their laps back, and that'll put a number of guys back on the lead lap. As right now, we're currently showing 15, but it will end up having a pretty close to 20 on the lead lap. breather here as they're able to catch their breath for really the first time all night, as we've not had any cautions or anything like that up until this point, and just a long, really hard fought out race for these guys. And really, we're going to go green with about, looks like 42 laps to go. Sorry, 46 laps to go. A little bit of a short run for these guys. Be interesting to see who made the right call to make adjustments to their vehicles for this little bit shorter run, and this track that seems to be cooling off pretty severely here, as it now dropped down to 88 degrees on the racing surface.
All right, Chris, and exactly there, and looks like we're getting lined up, ready to back to go. So Winter and Terrell will line it up, but they are trying to get these guys lined up a little bit here. As we got something that's happened on the back of the track here with Tracy Powers. So Tracy Powers is coming around the straightaway here. And everybody looks like they're trying to get lined up here. And, oh, somebody gets in the back of TJ Bartel, and Powers gets into it too. So that's not good. That's why we've extended the caution here.
Yeah, these guys were racing to get back up to the field from the waiver round, and everyone just checked up in front of Tracy, and you kind of see it. He didn't really have anywhere he could go at that point. Had a car on his inside.
So Richie Coy is going to be the last driver on the lead lap, I believe. Randall Ballard in 15th. He got the lucky dog, so he's going to be the last driver on the lead lap. Kurt Davidson, the first driver on the lead lap. And Gil Gock, TJ Bartel, all those drivers abandoned that strategy. They elected to go ahead and take the tires, Chris. I'm sure you ran that down, but it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. This whole race has now been turned upside down on the head of all these competitors. Our top 10 doesn't even look the same. Mayhew's in the top 10 for the first time. Rachel Hunt's in the top 10 for the first time. Chad Lang's in the top 5 for the first time tonight. We still got some stuff going on deep in the field here. I don't know. Wayne Grassi also, I don't know what happened back here, but somebody slowed up very dramatically.
Yeah, they certainly did. It seems like they've gotten it all straightened out now, and hopefully we'll be able to go green here. But, man, this race is going to become...
You see the lights are completely on here. The sun is completely gone. And we'll see what happens here as the pace car is going to make the turn, and we are going to get back to green here at the Charlotte 300. Green, 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 and I think that might have been a little jump by the 30 car of Jeff Winter. He definitely jumped that. He's going to have to give that spot back. Yeah, I think that might have been a jump, but I won't call it right now. I'll have to look at a replay, but Jeff Winter definitely got a great start at the very minimum. Bobby Terrell all over the back. Greg Holt and Randy McCanny there. There's contact! And they somehow hold it together.
They certainly are. And going back and look at it, Winter actually went in the restart zone, but it looked like Terrell was just kind of already on the back of that car, kind of at the spoiler, and he took off. So not sure exactly what happened there.
Oh, we got a wreck. It's Dean Doucet and Chad Lang. Others involved. Mayhew's involved. Kurt Davidson, Brad Patterson, John Held. I think Dean Doucet might have actually gotten through that without any issues, but they're still wrecking back there.
Well, you know what they say about cautions, Jared. Cautions breed cautions, and that's the case right here tonight.
150 laps, green flag, and we've had 2 in 10 laps, led by Chad Lang there. Don't know exactly what happened. Let's take a look and see what happened to the 4 car. So here we are. We're in a big gaggle of cars here. So we got Chad Lang. He's on the outside of Dean Doucet and Ralph Nolan. Coming into the turn, and he just gets loose. The car just gets loose. Dean Doucet's there. Dean Doucet does a whale of a job holding on to it, and then everybody just kind of piles in. I don't think Chad Lang actually got that much damage out of it. I think it was the residuals of some of these other drivers. John Held, heavy damage. Dale Nearad, heavy damage in the 03. He got hit a couple times. Brad Patterson with significant damage as well. And my goodness, a lot of drivers involved there. That's going to give the lucky dog, I believe, to Gil Gach.
Yeah, that's going to be a good thing for him. But man, getting loose in the middle of the corner like that, that's just that's a weird place to get loose from that number 4 car. So interesting for him, but congrats to Dean Doucet being able to get that 29 car woed up a little bit and gather it back up and really didn't lose any positions. Matter of fact, I think he's going to end up gaining one here thanks to all of that.
I was going to say he didn't pit, so he must not think the damage is bad enough to pit. Gil Gach going around right now to get that lucky dog position, so he will get back on the lead lap. But my goodness, that was a mixed start. Some very confused drivers out there. It looked like possibly on the track that might have caused some issues, and that just continued on through that beginning of the run. But Chris, Jeff Winter, let's take a look at that green flag again and see what happened with Jeff Winter and see if we see if he jumped outside the green flag. So we jump on board. Now, in FTSR, you cannot go until the green flag. And I think he went. I think it's close, but I think he might have gone before the green flag. It's close, though. But we'll let the other people take care of that one. But Jeff Winter definitely got a jump there on the start. At the very minimum, a very good start for Jeff Winter. But they'll have to do it again.
And it'll be something he'll have to be careful of here again, as he's going to have to try it again. And if it was a jump start, maybe he can go ahead and give that spot back up to Bobby Terrell right here, and hopefully the race control will be okay with that, as he didn't really have a lot of time to give it back up.
No, he didn't, and that's something they'll definitely, I'm sure they'll look at there. But and again, we didn't have a very good view of it, so I don't want to sit here and say that Jeff Winter did jump the start. Definitely don't want to say that. He definitely got a good start. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny on that. Whether that was within the bounds of the law is something that some other people will have to determine besides us. But right now, giving you a quick rundown, it's Winter, Terrell, Holt, your top 3, McCanny, Bernard Person, Nolan, Doucet, Torgerson, Coy, McMullen, your top 10. Ballard has moved into 11th spot, and Rachel Hunt to 12th, Gil Gach to 13th, Chad Lang in 14th, Josh Mayu did get some damage, but that car not terribly hurt there. He's in 15th, Vrooman in 16th, but he is one lap down right now.
Yeah, and Rachel Hunt, she got a little bit of... Oh, sorry about that. Rachel Hunt did get a little bit of damage in that accident, but really it was because she was trying to hurry up to get through it, that she caught the outside wall, just trying to hurry up past the 4 coming back up the track.
And you see a little bit of damage on that car, but right now you look at some of these drivers. Right now we have 3 drivers that are out of the race. That's Brian Bliss, Jeff Bratton, and Sher Williford has parked, as well as Andrew Poliski. As well in that number 90, or no, Poliski's back out there. So we are down to 35 drivers left. Bill Benedict's still out there, and he's got some opportunities to pick up some spots now in that number 90 machine here tonight. But we are about ready to re-rack them and re-go to get this thing going again. It's going to be Winter on the inside, Terrell on the outside, then Holt, McCanny, Person, Nolan, Doucet, Torgerson, Coy, and McMullen, Chris.
Yeah, a lot of these guys who have not been up front here tonight getting an opportunity to make the most out of this situation with these cautions here, Jared. So these guys will be aggressive here on the start. We just saw it on the last start. Can't imagine it'll be any different here.
Now, now it's, Chris, you look at this. Some drivers, like we said, Ralph Nolan up in 6th place. That's the first time he's been up this high in the race all night long. Now's an opportunity for some of these drivers that are on the cusp of the top 25, the cusp of the top 16, to be a little bit aggressive, like you were saying, to maybe gain some spots. We have our defending champion, Bernard Person, in 5th place, the highest he's ran all night. He hasn't seen the front of the field very much this season, and the 8 car is hungry for a victory, or at least a good run this season. And there's a lot of drivers just like that as the pace car is about to pull off.
You can just feel the excitement from these drivers as we're about to go green here. The pace car is off, and stack them up back green here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
There's the green flag. That time, definitely no doubt about it. No jump there is Jeff Winter. A solid restart there. And now Bobby Terrell is on the outside. He did not get going in that number 5 car.
No, he didn't. He actually spun the tires a little bit and is going to give up second place there to Greg Holt in that 32 machine.
And Bernard Person now looking on the inside. The defending champion is looking on the inside. He's looking for more, looking for third, maybe looking for second as Terrell has to go to the high side. McCanny's in there. Dean Doucet's in there. Nolan's in there. We got a battle on our hands. Winter's skating away.
He certainly is. He's going to enjoy these guys battling for position behind him. It's going to give him an opportunity to pull a little bit farther away from these guys, but not by.
Terrell pushes forward. Holt holds him off on the high side. McCanny is there. Terrell got loose off the turn, slid that machine, and now Bernard Person looking on the inside of McCanny as McCanny powers back on the outside. Dean Doucet in 6th place.
Between these guys in the top 3 here, only 3/10 separating them. I mean, this is almost super speedway racing at its finest.
Throw him under a blanket. The top 10, they're there. Richie Coy gets underneath Troy Torgerson, who's kind of dropping back a little bit here. Oh, battling down the back straightaway. Somebody got the wall. Was that Dean Doucet? I do believe it was.
And he was not the only one, as Greg Holt in the 32 also caught the wall there. A lot of guys going as hard as they possibly can here to get the most out of it.
35 laps to go. Holt, even though he just clipped the wall, ran the best lap on that lap at 31.18. So the 32 is moving forward, but is that damage going to come back to haunt him? Terrell is all over the back of him. Bernard Person making a move up. We've only interviewed him once, so only one top 3 finish this season for the 8 car. And he is on the back of Bobby Terrell as well as these guys continue to battle. Dean Doucet dropping spots. He might have hit the wall a little bit too hard there as Casey Mullen's now on his back bumper.
Yeah, you can actually look at the side of that car. It is now pancaked on that number 29 machine, and that is definitely not going to help his chances here tonight, but still up 22 positions from his starting position.
Jeff Winter, he's got Greg Holt all over his back bumper. Bobby Terrell starting to close that gap back down just a little bit. And the top 5 all kind of hanging out. Ralph Nolan in 6th spot having a good run as well. Trying to hold on, maybe grab his first top 5 of the year. He's all over the 27. Richie Coy's chasing back up as well. He's in 7th place, looking for a little bit more as well.
Yeah, as this run gets a little bit more green here, you're going to see these guys being more and more aggressive, and you'll see which cars have the best setups for this late night racing here. And who knows, we may have someone completely different win this race than we were expecting.
Terrell is there. He has got to Greg Holt. He just can't seem to make a move on him right now. Bernard Person could be one of those drivers you talked about, Chris. He has moved up to 4th place, and he's really looking very good in that number 8 machine. We know he can get it done. We know he can win races. He just hasn't had the season yet so far. But Bernard Person in 4th place. Ralph Nolan gets around Randy McCanny, but McCanny battles back on the outside.
Tough battle with
Lost Chris again. Sorry, Chris.
the 95 just can't seem to get the power on the bottom there on the 6, and the 6 is able to draw even on the straightaways.
Richie Coy also in this mix. Troy Torgerson's dropped off the back of it, but this is a battle for 5th place between 3 drivers. At the same time, Terrell continued to kind of just look and see if he can make a run on Greg Holt.
Yeah, doing everything he can. He is right there, only 2/10 off of the bumper, not even. As we come to the line here, he is within 1/10 less than, as he's going to look to the outside going into 1.
Terrell can't quite get there. He's going to go to the outside, though, as Holt's going to hug the bottom, and is it going to give him enough of a run down the back straightaway? Terrell trying to get something going. Can't let Jeff Winter get too far ahead, but Terrell just can't quite get there right now.
No, and you could see there he got a little bit of loose coming out of the corner, had to get out of it, wasn't able to use the momentum from that high sign, is now going into the tri-oval. He's right on him again.
Terrell is there now this time. He's going to look. He's going to stay in line this time, it looks like. maybe try to get a better run, a natural run off the corner. At the same time, Bernard Persons kind of inched his way closer to those two. And Randy McCanny has officially gotten around Ralph Nolan and brought Richie Coy with him. So put McCanny back up to 5th, Coy up to 6th place.
Yeah, the 5 just is not able to get off of 1 and 2 near well, as that number 32 machine gets a huge run on 3 and 4, but just not able to capitalize right now.
McCanny is actually inching his way closer to Bernard Persson, so this thing could, it's like a rubber band. It could band back up here as we are now down to 28 laps to go, single file through the top 15, all the way back to Steven Vrooman in 16th place. He's the first car 1 lap down. Mayu with that damage, actually not too bad apparently, because he's been able to keep that car pointed in the same direction. Could be a big night for him to get back in the top 25 as we go on board Bobby Terrell, who's looking to the outside of that Greg Holt machine, and he's going to get a nose there this time.
Yeah, he definitely does, but once again, the 32 is able to pull away from him a little bit there. Going to try to do a little bit of a crossover and go down low here on the number 32 machine. Give it to the 5 as he's down there on the inside. Going to look to try to take that on coming out of the corner. Not able to do it so far, Jared.
Holt is doing a masterful job on the outside, but Terrell's pulled even now as they go across the start-finish line. Winter hasn't been able to pull ahead of these two drivers battling. Holt's going to stick it on the outside. Terrell's been there all night, couldn't get anything going. Terrell's got the undercut. Can he get it done there? It's still neck and neck down the back straightaway, Chris.
It certainly is. The 32 is able to pull even again on the number 5 machine, just not able to get off the corner as well as he'd like to in 1 and 2, but I think he's going to be able to do it right here in the tri-oval.
Very close racing between these two drivers, and that's allowed Bernard Persson to close right up on the back bumper of these two drivers and Jeff Winter to check out as they're still side by side, 2 by 2. As, my goodness, this is amazing racing between these two drivers. 25 to go here at Charlotte.
And, you know, Jeff Winter and Bernard Persson are loving this, and these two side by side, they're hating it. Every second that they're beside each other is just more time they're losing to Jeff Winter, and that Bernard Persson is making up on them.
In the background there, you saw Troy Torgerson and Dean Doucet get up into the wall, so both those drivers railing that thing out as Greg Holt and Bobby Terrell continue to battle. Terrell actually getting a little bit of advantage through 1 and 2. He's about 3/4 of the way in front of him and just gets loose there. And now Jeff Winter's there's actually going to be some lap down traffic. Brad Patterson, who's down on power, is going to be the driver they're going to catch. Greg Holt just pinching Bobby Terrell down there in 3 and 4, and that makes it really difficult for him to get that run off the corner.
It certainly does, and you can see the 5 there, a little bit of wiggle coming out of the corner there. Because of it, he's not able to clear him. I think he's going to dive in here and do a slide job before it's over.
Terrell is a patient driver, and there's maybe a little contact between the two drivers. My goodness, what a battle, and now it's going to allow Bernard Persson to get underneath the 5 car of Bobby Terrell.
And he's going to be able to use that lap car as a kind of a pick there on the outside.
And I think Brad Patterson, his connection dropped when Bobby Terrell was going around him, but that could have been close as Bernard Persson now moved him up into 3rd spot in that number 8 machine. Now he's looking on Greg Holt. And caution's out. It's Brad Patterson, actually. I think it's Brad Patterson.
It looks like Dale Nearad may have been involved in this one as well.
Dale Nearad with significant damage. Let's take a look here. He's already on pit road during that wreck, so I'm not sure. I think it's Brad Patterson that caused that caution. But he's warped out. Yes, he is. And he comes back. I think he appears in front of somebody. And we're going to back this up because we just don't have the... Yeah, he came back onto the track. He reappeared on the track right inside of Richie Coy's car. And that's going to cause that caution there for Brad Patterson. Now, Chris, what do you do here? Do you pit or do you stay out? And we got some... Oh, boy. we got some drivers coming in. Everybody's coming in.
Yeah, if you've got tires down there at this point, there's no question about it. You have to pit. You're going to get left if you don't come in and get tires at this point.
Oh my goodness, Lane Allen did not realize there were some drivers staying out on the track, and he just about ran over somebody. Nearly could have been a big wreck there for the 14 machine. Whew. That was the seat of the pants moments for him. Vrooman is going to be our lucky dog. He's going to go ahead and take that wave around now. That's going to leave Mike Watts there, the first car, one lap down if we get another caution, just ahead of his team owner, Wayne Grossi, in 17th. But, Chris, everybody on pit road, Troy Torgerson, looks like Greg Holt, if I'm not mistaken, is the first one out. And he is. And what a stop by Greg Holt. Jeff Winter's going to come out in second. Bobby Terrell in third. Chad Lang in fourth place. He had a 10-second pit stop. That could have been some strategy in the number 4 car. Maybe took 2 tires.
Well, he was involved in that incident earlier, so he had already pit to get tires. So he had not that many laps on those tires. So a lot of positions that he was able to gain there. But, man, once again, this changes the complexion of this race.
20 to go. When we get the green flag, it's going to be about 18 to go. We've seen the fresh tires. We've seen these drivers with, the short run speed, Chris, has been phenomenal from the RPM drivers. Can Bobby Terrell or Bernard Person or even Chad Lang or somebody like that make something happen here at this race on the line?
Absolutely. I mean, we said that the 40-lap run that we were expecting there was going to be a short run. Now it's even half of that. So a lot of different strategies going to play out here, and it's going to be about who made the right call on that pit stop for adjustments. That's going to determine who wins this race.
Well, Chad Lang is back on pit road, so I guess maybe didn't intend to do the strategy. He did, so he is back on pit road in the number 4 car. So that's going to sort everybody back out, pretty much how they were running before. Let's see if we can look at anybody else here. Steven Vrooman in 15th place. He's on pit road. Chad Lang down and away. So it looks like he may have not taken right side tires on that machine. So he got those tires and came back out.
Looks like we're going to have close to 24 cars on the lead lap here once we get everything settled down. And, good for a couple of those guys like TJ Bartel in the 88, who kind of was on that different strategy than everyone else, finally able to get back on the lead lap here late in the race.
Getting back on the lead lap the hard way. Does have some damage on that number 88 from that caution, or the second caution of the night. But man, we went 150 laps with no cautions, Chris, and now we've kind of, not necessarily a rash of cautions, but we got our third one of the night here. And you look at it, and it's almost flipped the race on the head. I would have loved to seen how that strategy played out for Gil Gach and TJ Bartel, but otherwise, it's been an interesting race, to say the least, for these drivers, as Greg Holt now up front leading this race.
One strategy not working out for those drivers, but strategy working out for Greg Holt. He's kind of shown a lot of speed here at the latter part of this race. Kind of wouldn't have thought that he was going to be up here if you would have asked me that when we were on maybe lap 140, but everything changed.
Yes, it has. It has changed, and it's changed big time, as we will have 17 laps to go when we get the green flag. So it's going to be Holt, Winter on your front row, the RPM drivers up there. Then we have Terrell, Person in row 2, McCanny Coy in row 3, Nolan McMullen in 4, and Torgerson and Rachel Hunt back into the top 10. Again, looking further back, we got Ballard, Gil Gach in row 6, Doucet and Lang in row 7, and Vrooman, the last driver and the longest line, the last driver on lead lap after getting the lucky dog in 15th position. So now, Chris, we're getting down for all the marbles. This could be a potential, pretty much lock Jeff Winter completely in the playoffs at this point in time with 3 wins. Bobby Terrell could get a second win. Bernard Person could lock himself finally into the playoffs with a win tonight. Same with Richie Coy or Randy McCanny getting a second win. This is going to be a huge restart for a lot of drivers.
It certainly is, and I believe it was Jeff Chandler that was chiming in on the YouTube page saying that those RPM drivers were going to get faster as the night came out. Well, it's nighttime, and look where they are.
1 and 2 as the pace car makes the move down, and green flag is back out. Kind of a slow start from Greg Holt and Jeff Winter as Bernard Person going to sneak on the outside there, maybe make it 3 wide, elects against it.
Great start there, though, by Greg Holt as he's able to pull out in front of these guys as the battle is for second at this moment with Bobby Terrell in the 5 underneath Winter.
Winter did not get the start he needed and really stacked it up there at the front of the field. Terrell's going to look on the inside, trying to go for second spot.
Man, and Winter really tried to push him farther down into the track there as he could, was not able to do so, and the 5 looks like he's going to be able to clear going into 1.
And now Bobby Terrell, can he pull the inverse? He dominated Atlanta. It was a caution-free race until the very end. I think about 20 laps to go. And then we had another caution with that set up a green-white checker. Bobby Terrell ended up losing that race to Jeff Winter. Can he redeem himself maybe tonight? Grab a big victory just like the 5 car last night with Kyle Larson. Bobby Terrell is now just ahead and chasing down Greg Holt for the win. Jeff Winter's got a mirror full of Randy McCanny and Richie Coy, though.
Man, these guys are all right there, bumper to bumper on one another here. This is fantastic racing.
Now, can Greg Holt, what can he do? We haven't seen him. This is only his 3rd race of the FTSR season. Just came in a little bit late in the year to join RPM, but now can he pick up his first win? Or can Bobby Terrell make something happen? Terrell's going to look to the outside. Nothing there. Or is there?
There's something there as he's able to get a nose on the outside of that 32 machine. He's going to try to dive it out into 1 and make that way extreme high line work. Not going to work for him up there, but he's going to have a massive run coming off the corner.
I think he got just a little bit too high, but Bobby Terrell knows what he's doing, and now can he make something happen into 3? Had to back off just a little bit. I think he maybe had just too much momentum, and now he's actually lost some time as we are now down to 13 to go.
He did lose some time there on our leader Holt, and really that has put him in the clutches of Jeff Winter again. Man, these guys just can't get away from each other.
Holt and Bobby Terrell just inching his way back a little bit further. I think that was a bad move to go to the high side like that early in the run, but I think Bobby Terrell figured that out.
It certainly was, and Winter got really tight coming out of the corner. Looks like he may have touched the wall, and that's going to give Terrell a little bit of breathing room.
Holt continuing to pull that lead out just a little bit, but Terrell inches his way back toward him. Terrell, we know that about 10 laps into this run, Terrell's car really comes alive. Holt's car kind of dies off unless some adjustments were made. But boy, Jeff Winter, if he made some adjustments, they went the wrong way as McCanny is all over the back of that number 30 machine.
Yeah, and Bobby Terrell in that number 5, he was completely sideways coming out of to that last lap and able to hang on to it and didn't even lose a single bit of time to our leader.
Behind, back further, Ralph Nolan getting in the mix, trying to pass Richie Coy for a top 5. McCanny just can't seem to get to Jeff Winter when he gets there. Tell you the big loser on that restart, Bernard Person went from 4th place or 3rd place when that caution came out. He has dropped all the way back to 7th place. So the 8 car just not handling. If he made adjustments, went the wrong way. But up front, Greg Holt still trying to hold off Bobby Terrell. 10 laps to go at the line.
10 laps to go and 2.5 tenths on Bobby Terrell in that number 5. He's going to have to do a lot of blocking here in this last 10 laps to get this victory.
Boy, Terrell really gained the time on that straightaway, Chris. I mean, that is down to down to 0.18 now. And Holt's going to play a little bit of a move down to try to block, but Jeff Winter is all over the back of that 5 car as well as we're 9 to go.
Yeah, Winter is able to get that car back under.
Boy, oh boy, they have closed right up on Holt. It's down to a 10th now. Terrell is there. Winter is there. McCanny's in earshot. So is Ralph Nolan.
Fantastic racing here by these bunch. The 5 still not able to get off of 1 and 2 the way he would like, and that's going to give Holt a little bit of breathing room.
Through 3 and 4, Terrell backs it down just a little bit. Gets a great run off 3. That is back down to under a 10th of a second. He pulls a gap on Jeff Winter. Bobby Terrell is hungry for a victory. He's going to look to the high side again, Chris.
He certainly is. He's wanting to get that run on the outside lane there and be able to maybe do a little bit of a switcheroo and go down low. Not able to make it work, though.
Terrell continuing. Can't seem to find a way around the 32 of Greg Holt. This could be huge for Bobby Terrell if he's able to grab a victory. That would definitely solidify his points position in the playoffs, as we are down to 7 laps to go and 13 races left in the regular season. He is there again. He just has such a great drive from turn 1, but it's turn 1 where he's really losing all of his time.
He certainly is losing the time. He was within 1/10 of a second, and then on the back straightaway there, Holt is able to gain 1/10. But here in 3 and 4, it is all Terrell as he's back on the bumper again.
Same time that's going on, Randy McCanny has closed back up on Jeff Winter. Terrell just cannot. There is an opening on the bottom. I don't know why he didn't take it there. He's going to look to the high side, but now he's got Jeff Winter to contend with. I think he opened the door just a little bit too much.
Yeah, I would have to agree there. I think he's trying.
Looking out the front of Randy McCanny's car at that top 3 battle, it's Terrell, it's Winter, it's Holt, and boy, oh boy, it's getting tight. 5 to go here at Charlotte.
Terrell's trying to do whatever he can to find a way around Holt. He's just not able to do it because
Terrell loose off turn 2. Behind them, Coy has gotten back around Ralph Nolan, but Bernard Person now battling him. We're keeping an eye on that battle, but right now it's a battle for the lead as Bobby Terrell continues to just cannot get that run, and I think he's going to have to be step up the aggression a little bit, Chris. He's going to have to make it done on the inside of that number 32.
absolutely he's able to get a little bit closer going into 1, but every single lap, Holt is able to pull away coming out of 2.
Four laps to go at Charlotte. Going down to 3 laps to go. He's going to have to make something happen, and that 5 car just continues to kind of drop off just a little bit. 3 to go at the line. McCanny has dropped off this group, and the top 3 have extended their lead over there. McCanny's probably safe for 4th. Person has gotten around Coy for 5th, and McMullen now on the back of the 19 machine. But up front, it's Holt and Terrell. And Terrell, he's got a whale of a run, but he just can't do anything with it right now, Chris, as we're going to go to 2 to go.
Yeah, he's able to close in really quickly on that Holt machine there, coming out of 3 and 4. But every bit that he gains, he completely loses it in 1 and 2. He just needs to find a different line to get around this track with 2 laps to go.
Back down to around 1/10 of a second between these 2 drivers. Terrell, I mean, he's going to have to make a move at some point in time. He's just too far back right now, Chris. But there is some lap traffic. I don't think they're going to play a factor in the finish of this race, though, it looks like.
Yeah, about 2 seconds in front of our leader here.
Terrell gets loose off the corner. Final lap here at Charlotte. It's Holt, it's Terrell, it's Winter. Who's going to come out on top? Terrell drives it down in the turn. He's going to catch him right here. Can he make something happen? Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit too late for the 5.
If he's going to do it, it's going to be coming out of 3 and 4. This is the close.
Off turn number 3, it's down to 1/10 of a second, but I think Holt's going to hold on to it in his first career FTSR victory in his 3rd start. Greg Holt's going to get it done tonight, holding off Bobby Terrell and Jeff Winter to grab the victory at Charlotte, followed by Randy McCanny and Bernard Person in your top 5, Chris. What a finish. And even though we had some cautions there at the end, it made this race some spicy stuff.
It certainly did. A fantastic finish here tonight. Kudos to these guys there battling it out at the end. Everyone was giving it all that they had to try to get up on the podium and to get this victory.
And Jeff Chandler completely right. When the sun goes down, those RPM drivers going to move to the front. And Greg Holt able to get it done. And it wasn't easy, but we knew he had some short run speed tonight, Chris, based on the beginning of the run, based on how he was in the pit stops. I would have loved to have seen some strategies play out, but at the end of the day, Greg Holt's going to get the win. Let's take a look at our results here, our final results here, as they are just now getting finalized here. And you'll see Greg Holt grabbing the victory, Bobby Terrell in 2nd, Winter, McCanny, Person, your top 5. Coy with a solid sixth place finish. McMullen, Torgerson, Hunt with a great top 10 run for her in 9th place. Ralph Nolan fades at the end but still holds on to 10th. Ballard, Doucet, Gawk, and Vrooman all finished on the lead lap in 14th. Everybody else behind that took the wave around, and we're kind of struggling there at the end of the race. But Gil Gawk in 13th, Chris. TJ Bartel 19th tonight.
Yeah, those guys just caught on a weird strategy there at the end and didn't work the way that they intended it to, especially for TJ Bartel. A lot of guys having a difficult night here, Jared.
Exactly right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Watch Greg Holt burn the place down in his first career FTSR victory, and then we're going to hear from our top 3 finishers. right, we are back live here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where Greg Holt has grabbed his first career FTSR victory and just his third here tonight.
Certainly was. Jeff Chandler called it early, said those RPM guys are going to be strong when the lights came on. He was right.
Exactly right. Let's take a look at our championship standings here, and we'll start at the top here of these drivers, and we'll see Bobby Terrell extends his point lead over Case McMullen to 8 points. Richie Coy and Troy Torreson both moving up one spot at the demise of Dale Nearad, who drops 2. Person, Winter, Allen, no changes with those, and Spear, no changes with those. McCanny into the top 10. Doucet outside the top 10 now. And Chris, we look back at that bubble. Unofficially, Tim Bill's right there on the bubble. Steven Vrooman gets himself into the top 25 now, it looks like.
Yeah, Vrooman had a top 15 here tonight, and that contributed to him staying above that cutoff line. Great job capitalizing on maybe not the best night for that team.
Exactly right. And Greg Holt all the way toward the bottom, only 64 points this year so far for Greg Holt. So he is a long way outside the playoff picture, but who knows what can happen as the season continues on. But Chris, I believe
I certainly am. Jeff, tonight was a interesting. Sorry about that. It seems like Jeff, tonight this race was just a mixed bag with the cautions that came there late. What did that do to change the outcome of your race?
Well, obviously, I think I had them covered on the long run, and then even that short run, with when Greg and Bobby got to fighting, I was able to get away from them pretty good. So I think I was gonna be tough to beat there on those 2 runs, but I didn't. Greg got me on pit road. Actually, I just didn't get on pit road at that slow speed like I should have, and then he was closer to the end, so he could just throttle up. I had to throttle up, then lift a little bit, and he beat me to the line. That was it.
Well, and pit road here is a tricky place, especially when you have pit stops that are basically the same. It's all about getting on and off, and just a. Is there anything you changed to that car there at the end to try to make it run better?
No, actually, I didn't make a change there at the end because it was getting better and better. I think the track was cooling down, and as it cooled down, the first run, I actually went a little too hard and kind of burnt my stuff up, and that's why those guys got back by me. But that second run and then, like I said, the third run, the track was coming to me pretty good. So no, I didn't have to make any adjustments. It was a great setup.
Fantastic. We're heading to Sonoma next week. What do you got for these guys?
These road course races, just I guess I'm not aggressive enough. I don't attack the corners like I should, so I give up a lot of time here, there, and yonder, trying to be a little too cautious, and that's just in my nature. So I don't know that I'll ever be great. I just hope to keep it on the track and have a decent finish is all I ever hope for on those.
Absolutely. Led 50.
Well, Jeff, I'll take over for Chris here. I think he's having some technical difficulties there, but looking forward. You said Sonoma, but you came so close to having that third win here tonight, but it looks like you're going to be still in the top 10 in points. Does that kind of solidify where you're at? Are you starting to experiment a little bit, or are you still going out there trying to get as many wins as possible for the playoffs?
That's crazy. I don't even look at the points. I really don't even know what position I was in or even in now. So I just go out week to week and try to win every race, and practice each week and try to do the best I can. And that's really the only strategy I have. All right, thanks so much to FTSR and Brody and all you guys. You guys put on a great league. It's a super challenge to win these things, and when you get close like this, it's really disappointing. But it's so challenging. Like I said, the open races are nothing compared to this league. So I appreciate everything you guys do. Thanks, guys.
Yes, I'm back.
There's some I doubt it. That was just pure heart what I was doing there. Well, I mean, what happened is the first run, like you said, it was good, and I was able to catch everybody, pass everybody. The set was good, and then I thought I wanted to try to make it a little better off of two, and every adjustment I did, it just got worse and worse. And that last run on Jeff, I mean, it was just, I made it worse. And then I went back to my original settings, and I was good, so I ended up getting second. Oh no, no, you just got to practice for the road course, and then move on to Texas. Thanks a lot, Jared. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'd just like to thank uh, you guys up in the booth for everything that y'all do. Doing all the um, replays and commentating and all that stuff. And my teammates, I can't say enough about them and the work they put in on the setup. And that's it. Darkmatter Designs. Appreciate them guys for jumping on board.
I certainly am. And Greg, this is a long track here tonight, but you made it look a little bit easy there at the end, able to hold off Bobby Terrell and teammate Jeff Winters here. How'd you do it?
Well, if I had a pit crew that I could thank, we'll thank them first. They got me out in front. Um, and just that clean air is king. Little extra tape, couple adjustments for a short run. We were good to go. Just dirty that air up for the guy behind me the best I could. Not give him the bottom.
Absolutely. You were making that 5 car go to the high side there. Wasn't able to get a run on you up there. Was that kind of the plan there at the end?
It was. A couple of times I'd been when we had been together or racing side by side. I'd been on the outside and I could hold him off for a few laps. I think I lost one of the battles and I won the other one. But I was like, man, I'm gonna try to make him run the outside, see if he's tight. And it just seemed like he couldn't get the drive off the corner that I was getting when I was running up there. So we're gonna make him work it up there.
Absolutely. Did you make any changes on that last caution to be able to get that machine up there in front and lead the rest of the race?
Just a couple of little tricks we know, but that's it. It's I messed up there, or I tried to make up some time in one of the pit stops, so I'm glad we ended up having a caution. But otherwise we wouldn't have been up there.
Absolutely. And is there anyone you'd like to thank to get this team to the virtual track week in, week out?
Yeah, I'd like to thank FTR for having me, Full Throttle Racing. Thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Shout out to Jeff Winter and Jeff Chandler, the teammates over there at RPM. And a shout out to my team, Performance Sim Sport, all the guys that I work with and we run in the A Opens and NIS races with. And thanks to Causey for helping me out and being my crew chief today.
Awesome. Good job to those guys. Heading to Sonoma next week. What can we expect out of this team as we go into another road course?
Oh, I am not a road course guy. If it's, I'd put a bunch of practice in for Coda. I'm all right at the Glen, but I am not a fan of Sonoma. We'll see. I know Jeff are really good there, but the road courses, in iRacing, I just haven't spent any time on them except for the last couple, the last month or so, and they're just not my thing. I haven't got a feel for them yet.
Well, it's not here yet. You got a whole 7 days to prepare. We'll look forward to seeing what this team can do once you get there.
Here, apparently, there we go. Don't know what was going on with OBS. Now we're good. But Chris, what a race it was for these guys tonight. 150 green flag laps, and then all of a sudden we just had that one caution that threw kind of things into a different loop and played some strategies out. But at the end, the guys that were fast at the beginning ended up grabbing the win.
They certainly did. I mean, and we kind of saw that this track kind of ebbed and flowed tonight, and really that's what the guys were able to keep up with the changes or really not have to make any changes to their setups. They're the guys that stayed up front, and it kind of showed here at the end.
All right, yeah, exactly right, Chris. And what a race it was for these drivers. And we are going to head back to the road courses next week at Sonoma. Unbelievable that we have another road course already. Third one of the season. 2 different winners. Randy McCaney won back in Daytona. And then Jeff Chandler held off Lane Allen last week to grab the victory at Circuit of the Americas. Sonoma, a little bit more familiar for these drivers. They've raced that track before, so that should be fun. We'll have the coverage to be on the air on Wednesday night, so check that out. They're going to be at Iowa this week from Full Throttle Sim Racing, and then on Sunday night the ESRA Clash Series continues their season as they are down to 2 races left in their season. Check them out on Sunday night. But for tonight, I'm Jared Carr for Chris Spear. We will see you guys out on the track.